flip-flopping again. So it's an opportunity for Frederick to, seriously, he won the lottery. He's playing with the two best players in the world. As for the power play, that's one thing. They can practice it in this exhibition game. They can practice it in training camp. It doesn't matter. Their power play is their power play, and it will be big when it comes down to it.
Okay, but Rob, here's what I'd say to that. 2 years in a row, Florida took that power play away from Edmonton, and one of the things that they did was the zone entries on the drop and delays to McDavid. They shaded him to one specific side of the ice, and there were not enough options. The Oilers, and Glenn Gulson's well-respected. He's now the head coach again with Dallas. That's how much they thought of him. They thought enough of him to bring back a guy they fired as head coach and bring him back.
It doesn't happen often.
Doesn't happen often. That said, Paul McFarland comes in. I'm expecting to see some different looks and different variations with a new guy coaching the team. How do you ensure, as the new coach of that, you want the players to have ownership over it, but you've also got to input and have some, some different looks.
It's got to be conversations. You have conversations. You bring Connor and Leon in, and you talk about it. So here's what I see. What do you see? Here's some video. Tell me what you think about it. But it's got to be collaborative. You can't come in and say, here's what we're doing, because you're talking to the two best offensive players in the world who are on the ice. They see it nightly. So you just say, okay, what do you like? Okay, how can we tweak this? Every time something's successful, the rest of the league is trying to find a way to either emulate it or to stop it. So the Oilers power play was so good. Okay, how can we stop it? We can't completely shut it down, but we can take away certain options so that, all right, here's this option instead. So you have to have tweaks. You have to have different looks. But Connor and Leon have more set plays than any other duo in the history of the National Hockey League. They will figure it out. I have zero worry about how the Edmonton Oilers power play will be this year.
All right, let's do this. Let's go to the Ford Keys to the Game, brought to you by Ford. Official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, built Ford proud.
Well, I'm looking at two players tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. I'm looking for Frederick playing on the first line we just talked about, and the other one I'm looking for Isaac Howard. I mean, he's getting an opportunity to play with Mangiapane and Nugent Hopkins. He is an offensive player. For him to have most success he can possibly have in the NHL, it's got to be playing with offensive players. He's doing that tonight, so let's see how he shows.
That's our Inside the Game analyst, Rob Brown. More with Rob and Brendan Escott during the first and second intermissions. Jack Michaels will have the call of tonight's game. It's the Edmonton Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks, preseason game number 6 for the Oilers. The Oilers with a record of 3-1-1. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Be a savvy Edmonton hotel shopper. Book through Edmonton'sBestHotels.com and receive up to $225 in cash rewards. There are over 55 member hotels to choose from, offering their best value rates. Edmonton'sBestHotels.com. Rewards with every booking.
It's a new era for Ford in Edmonton. Welcome to Big West Ford. Located westbound on Stony Plain Road, just east of the Henday. Big West Ford is Edmonton's newest and most exciting Ford dealership. Whether you're after the legendary F-150, the Powerhouse 350 Super Duty, or the adventurous Bronco, they've got you covered with exceptional selection and service right here in your city. Big West Ford, driven by you. Visit Big West Ford at 18208 Stony Plain Road or online at bigwestford.com.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Blue-collar work deserves big dollar perks. Get a heavy wallet with Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals. Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals is always growing. Right now, they're hiring heavy equipment technicians, EM servicemen, and maintenance supervisors. Apply if you're from here or across the country. Even if you're from the Rock, they want to talk. Visit heavymetalequipment.ca to find your new career. Get a heavy wallet with Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals, helping you move the earth. Be a savvy Edmonton hotel shopper. Book through Edmonton'sBestHotels.com and receive up to $225 in cash rewards. There are over 55 member hotels to choose from, offering their best value rates. Edmonton'sBestHotels.com. Rewards with every booking.
Oh, man, the native land, true patriot love, in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Now, tonight's exclusive NHL broadcast.
Shoots and scores! But now it's Draisaitl off to Connor McDavid for the hat trick. He scores!
All the action called by the voices who know the game inside and out.
This crowd explodes!
Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels on the Oilers Radio Network.
Week 2 of the preseason well underway, and the Edmonton Oilers round out their home schedule as far as the preseason is concerned, with a date against the Vancouver Canucks, the team they vanquished in the second round of the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. Alongside Bob Stauffer for a 16th consecutive season, I'm Jack Michaels, and here we go from Rogers Place, Edmonton, Vancouver. The Oilers 3-1-1 in the preseason, and they'll start with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in the middle, flanked by Andrew Mangiapane and Ike Howard. Defensively, Ty Emberson and Cam Dineen and Stuart Skinner in the pipes. Your starting lineup brought to you by Coventry Homes, and here we go. The Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks, who are making their 4th preseason appearance. They're 2-1, and it's Vancouver's Atu Ratu winning the draw and quickly sent in deep, where Stuart Skinner will play it out. Mangiapane left it behind in the zone blue line, and the Pedersons for Vancouver on defense will go D-to-D. Marcus and Elias. Yes, there's an Elias and an Elias Pedersen for the Vancouver Canucks. Elias is a forward, and he's not dressed tonight. Neither is Jake DeBrusk. Here we go with the Oilers. Left to right in their blue uniforms. Nugent-Hopkins wired in deep right corner, and quickly Ike Howard is checked off the puck, and it's flipped back the other way by the man known as the Dragon, and that's Marcus Pedersen, acquired in a midseason trade last year from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Settled down by Bouchard, who's on a pairing with Matthias Ekholm, and now McDavid, Draisaitl, and Frederick come out. They were -3 in Wednesday's home loss to Seattle in the preseason, getting a second look tonight for head coach Chris Knobloch. Flipped in deep, and now the Canucks go to work with Philip Hedl, the one-time Ranger, turning it over. Draisaitl will get it back from Frederick and give it back, but out of the reach of Trent Frederick. Thatcher Demko starts for Vancouver. He's been injured in 2 of the last 3 campaigns. Bouchard right point for Leon Draisaitl. Outside the right circle, McDavid loads, tries to center, a wrist shot blocked, a rebound. Draisaitl knocked it off a defenseman and banked home ultimately by McDavid. The Oilers flurry in front of the Canuck net, and it's, I believe, going to be Draisaitl's goal. McDavid and Draisaitl both hovering close by, and that puck was banked off a defenseman, Bob, by Draisaitl and rattled around and eventually found its way in. I think it actually should be McDavid, though, initially.
Well, Derek Forbort broke his stick, and it was an absolute fire drill for the Canucks after that.
Yeah, it's McDavid.
And Connor ends up poking the puck home on the backhand. But the Canucks were under major duress, and the Oilers just basically swamped them over and got it to the net, outmanned him, and one of the defensemen for Vancouver didn't have a stick, and it's in the net.
And Leon Draisaitl in the preseason is not going to worry about who's first in the handshake line. Curtis Lazar, a backhander, flipped wide as Edmonton's third line goes to work, anchored by Noah Philp in the middle, and he's had a solid preseason with a goal and a couple of assists. Tries to feed it in front for Lazar. That's picked off and a hard rim. Regula looked to knock it down. So McDavid from Draisaitl in the first 90 seconds, and Edmonton on the board. Oilers control in their own end off a Vancouver dump in. The Canucks in the white uniforms with blue and green trim. They're coming off a year, a disappointing one, where they finished 6 points out of the playoffs. Give Frederick a second assist on the scoring play as well. And again, that was a line that was -3 the other night against Seattle. Dumped in by Vancouver, and the longtime AHL standout, Joseph Labate. He goes to work in the corner. Decade in the American Hockey League, 1 season in the KHL. Worked down low by Mackenzie McEachran, a long-time St. Louis Blues prospect who never got NHL footing. Worked out by Szymanski. And, Bob, I imagine Szymanski is one of a quartet of guys that you're going to be watching closely tonight.
To me, he's the biggest surprise that he's here this late, especially after the first couple rookie games. He's been better against the pros than against the rookies.
And there's a handful of guys we've seen over the years, Bob, that fit in that category. As the caliber of competition rises, they rise, and we've seen it go the other way as well. Here's Ike Howard moving it left side. That's going to be taken and swept around by Kiefer Sherwood. He got it through Bouchard, and here come the Vancouver Canucks. Max Sasson, one of a handful of Canucks who played about 25-30 games with this team. Again, a turnover and a drive off the post. That beat Skinner cleanly from Pierre-Olivier Joseph, and the rebound wired out of play. Skinner beaten cleanly, but it was whistled off the right goalpost, and Vancouver by an eyelash remains down 1-0 with 3 minutes and 40 seconds gone by in this first period. Again, McDavid from Draisaitl and Frederick at 1:28.
The Oilers with an egregious giveaway. They're just trying to get Stuart Skinner into the game, and that was a hammer blow. Got all of the shot there.
Forbert 2 goals in 54 games last year. He's kind of a guy in that 6-7 role for the Canucks. Chipped in softly, Archdeep Baines. He got popped from behind by McDavid. Worked free, Evan Bouchard. Baines, a one-time Western Hockey League scoring champion. Played for the Red Deer Rebels. Linus Karlsson. Bob and I saw him a couple years ago in the playoffs. He played 2 of the 7 games. Joseph had his shot blocked left point. Now here's Filipino centering. Wrist shot smothered by Bouchard. Turned over. And now a backhander from O'Connor is stopped by Skinner. And he'll make the save. So 2 quality chances for Vancouver in the last minute. And both, Bob, off of loose plays in Edmonton's own zone.
And from the same player, Evan Bouchard. He has moments like that. And good solid save by Stuart Skinner, who was square to the shot. And you mentioned Baines, and they have 6 players off their Calder Cup winning team from Abbotsford that are in the lineup tonight.
Lekarmaki on that list. Sasson we talked about. Bob, other than Szymanski, Howard, Phil, Tomashik, is this a big game for those players?
Well, it's a big game. Also Regula on defense and Lepinen. I would say right
so
now.
So you're not necessarily planting them in Bakersfield just yet?
No, and there's also some injuries that are played a factor to maybe why some guy. But, I mean, I think that Szymanski and Hudson eventually end up in Bakersfield. At this stage of the game, like Phelps played some forwards that are here. And I think Regula's done pretty good for a guy that didn't play at all last year.
Canucks off the draw, work the perimeter. Phil and Lepinen checking in the corner, forced back to Elias Pettersson, the defenseman. Noah Philp grabs it in the corner for Edmonton. We're live from our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer. 5 minutes gone by, first period. Oilers up 1-0. Here's Regula entering the offensive zone over to Hudson. Scored a goal the other night. Worked down low by Noah Philp and then turned over, and here come the Canucks on the move. A centering pass intended and swatted out of midair by Drew O'Connor. That missed everything. Braden Coots on the ice from Sherwood Park, drafted 15th overall by the Canucks.
I heard he was the second best player on his line at one time when he played with your son Tyler. Is that true?
No. Tyler Michaels was, at best, the second best player on his line most nights, but yes, they played minor hockey together. Walking in, a wrist shot by Szymanski, and that was elevated up and out of play. Now on Coots, Bob, you are well familiar. You've got some family who lives in Vancouver, so you're familiar with the grouse grind, even though you've not necessarily...
How do you know I haven't done that?
Well,
how did he do in the grouse grind?
I have a feeling. Here's the thing with Braden Coots. He became the first Canuck since the Sedins started working that player development program. They give the Sedins give you a 15-minute head start. Coots was the first guy in Vancouver's training camp history to hold on and beat the Sedins in the climb up the grouse grind, which involves an elevation of, 800 meters. So it's a significant elevation. It's a significant hike. Your novice hiker, it takes them maybe more than 2 hours. And so that drew some attention early, and I think Coots has surprised some people by how well he's played.
And tonight he counts as a veteran, because if you're a first-round pick the year before, you'd count as a vet in the preseason.
Forbert turns it over. Darnell Nurse, a shot from long range. Nurse has had a couple of preseason goals. He's also not in the game tonight. My apologies. That's Cam Dineen. Here's a quick wrist shot that's intercepted by Philip Roenick and lofted down the ice. It's preseason for me, too, and that'll be an icing call against the Canucks with 6 1/4 gone by in the first period. The shots are 2 apiece.
Do you know how many times I've had guys that weren't in the lineup over the last 18
Well, Edmonton coming off a 4-0 win with, a pedestrian lineup against the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah.
Tonight, we're seeing a lot of guys who are expected to be regulars when the regular season starts in earnest on October the 8th.
Yeah, by my count, I look at this Oilers lineup, and I think there's probably 11 or 12 players that'll be on the 23-man roster to start the year.
Ekholm, a one-timer and a save made by Thatcher Demko, who didn't play all that well when he was finally available last season. Mangiapane tried to stuff it in front for Howard and Nugent Hopkins. It was deflected.
Still got re-signed, Jack. Demko. They got him done. Big ticket.
Chipped out, center ice, and again for a guy who's been injured 2 of the last 3 years. Flipped in by Matthias Ekholm. Worked up the half boards. Bouchard centers in front, and slow to get it off was Nugent Hopkins. Here comes Vancouver the other way. Flipped in by Niels Oman. And now McEachran checked against the boards by Ekholm and relieved of the puck. Bouchard to settle it down. His pass deflected high in the air, and that'll bounce wide of Demko. No icing here, as again the puck was deflected. Tracked by Pettersson. The 2 Petterssons on the ice for Vancouver on defense. A pass whistled up the right-hand side. It was deflected, no icing. Leppinen collects for Edmonton over to Regula, and now left side for Draisaitl, whose backhand pass denied. So he'll reset. He set up McDavid with the game's opening goal. 7.5 minutes have been played here. First period, Edmonton looking to raise its preseason record to 4-1-1, heading into 2 road games this week at Seattle, at Vancouver. Shot off the rush, Regula from the right circle, stopped by Demko. Rebound handled by Frederick to Draisaitl. One-timer, McDavid missed the net. Just missed the outside of the right goalpost. Regula back to Draisaitl. McDavid, drag move to the net. McDavid, backhander in the net, knocked off its moorings, and Frederick might have inadvertently helped Vancouver's cause there as he rode a backdoor defenseman. I think it was Pettersson himself. Marcus Pettersson ridden into the boards by Frederick, and the scoring threat dies.
What a great pass by Regula, Jack.
Timeout on the ice. 12:06 to play. First period. Connor McDavid has put Edmonton out on top. It's 1-0 for the Oilers, and this is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
The same AI-powered technology that helps Oilers fans move through security efficiently at Rogers Place is also available for Edmonton area schools, hospitals, and workplaces. Evolve Technology, proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers and official security screening partner of Rogers Place, helps identify potential threats and create safe experiences at hockey games and wherever people gather. Visit Rogers Place to experience Evolve live, or check out evolve.com for more information. That's EVOLV.com.
Rogers is Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Leon's scoring in Leduc. Watch Tide tie things up in Tofield. Or check out Connor doing Connor things in Kalmar. And even watch Stewart steal the show while you're in Sedalia. Try saying that 3 times fast. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers. From your home to the ice rink, ATCO Energy is there. As the official energy provider of Rogers Place, we're also proud partners of the Edmonton Oilers. ATCO Energy, powering your place. Customers are free to purchase natural gas services or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
8 minutes gone by, first period. McDavid from Draisaitl and Frederick, and Edmonton has taken a 1-0 lead in Game 6 of its preseason slate. The Canucks are only playing 6. They're off to a 2-1 start, a 4-2 win over Seattle on Friday. And in that game, Braden Coots scored their first-round draft choice, taken 15th overall and playing tonight in his hometown.
Well, I'm going to be watching Braden Coots with Vancouver, his development. He's the Seattle Thunderbirds in the Western Hockey League, and Cole Retchney, who left the Victoria Royals. He was the 18th overall pick to Calgary. He's playing in North Dakota now with Keaton Verhoff. That was big news when those guys left. It's going to be very intriguing to see how both Coots and Retchney develop, and whether or not there's an advantage to one over the other for making the Canadian World Junior team.
Philp wins a face-off, capping him back to the point, and the shot does get through from Leppinen, handled by Thatcher Demko. Leppinen, when he has possession of the puck, Bob, he strikes me as a guy who knows exactly what he's doing. What have you seen from him?
That exact thing, and reputation came with it. Toby Sommerline is the Oilers finish, and he's basically their Scandinavian scout. He's a former GM, and he was the player that identified Leppinen and David Tomashik.
Leppinen led the Finnish league in scoring as a defenseman, and Tomashik led the Swedish elite league in scoring, of course, as a forward, playing primarily at center. Philp tosses it back to center. Philp and Lazar, where are they right now, Bob, in terms of...
I think Philp's playing his way onto the team right now.
And Lazar, is he on the team for sure?
Yes, and part of it is they're both at $775,000.
Moving in, little dish, fed back to the point, off a feed from O'Connor, and a save made on Kiefer Sherwood, who had a real strong campaign under Rick Tocchet last year. Like Vancouver, several changes on the coaching staff for the Canucks. We'll talk about that. Adam Foote, the new head man, as Tocchet has moved on to his one-time stomping grounds in Philadelphia, where he played so many successful years for the Flyers, although I prefer to remember him as a Penguin. Sherwood, a shot that was blocked.
Find that hard to believe.
Lifted over by Ty Emberson and worked up the left-hand side by Cam Dineen, who acquitted himself very well when he was up with Edmonton, and of course, a veteran presence down in Bakersfield. Canucks with a puck. Worked up the right-hand side. Little spin move, a backhander, and that was stopped. And a good-looking move that time from Philip Hedl, who had a 22-goal campaign with the Rangers a couple years ago and then seemed to stagnate.
They got 4 players at the end of the day in that JT Miller trade. We'll discuss that later.
Pedersen from Pedersen, and it's Marcus stumping it down low from Matthias Ekholm. Right-hand side for Evan Bouchard. Halfway through the first period. 10 minutes to go. 1-0 Edmonton. Ike Howard crunched against the half-boards, and now muscled back inside the Edmonton line. Bouchard across ice toss that's going to be picked up and eventually worked back down low by Oman. LeBate working down low in the corner, muscled off the puck by Bouchard. Nugent Hopkins ahead to Howard, denied entry by Kuryatsev. And I will try to stay away from that as much as I can. It's a little early in the preseason. Nugent Hopkins drag move. Leppinen, a shot denied by Demko. Beautiful move by Leppinen, but Demko with an equally solid save. Back to get it. Regula tied up momentarily. Could have been a hook there. Dropped instead for Leon Draisaitl, and Edmonton reloads left to right. Draisaitl with McDavid alongside. Reading the pass and intercepting easily. Clearing back to center is Braden Coots. Now he's defending once again on McDavid. Up top, a drive by Ekholm, and that glanced off Frederick in front. Ekholm will put it around the boards, picked up by Draisaitl on the right half wall. Swung back to Bouchard. Over to Ekholm, winds it up. A drive on net, easily sent aside by Demko. McDavid pursued, drops it off. Ekholm, good pass to Draisaitl, back to McDavid, around Max Sasson, and Sasson at the last second was able to get his stick on it and force it back through the middle. Carried back in by Draisaitl. McDavid, right circle, a shot, fought off by Demko, rebound, score. Camped out in front, Trent Frederick makes it 2-0. He powered his way inside, and when McDavid's shot initially stopped Frederick there to drive it home.
Well, as you know, because you do a lot of games with Louis DeBrusk, and Trent was in Boston and had 18 and 17 goal seasons when Jake DeBrusk, who's now with the Canucks, was there. That's where he scores from. I mean, right net front presence, right in front of the goal. He is outside of blue paint. It's going to be a good goal. And the Oilers with a 2-0 lead in this trio. And Vancouver does not have an A team going tonight, but that line's going pretty good.
Yeah, I can't imagine you were overly concerned on Wednesday when that top line went -3 in its preseason opener against Seattle. But in this first period, they've accounted for both goals. They're +2, and Edmonton's up 2-0. 8 minutes to go in the first period. It's interesting, Bob. I was talking to Trent Frederick late last week, and he said, I'm not so much worried about the regular season. I've gotten off the schneid early, typically. But in preseason, at times I stink. Well, he hasn't stunk tonight.
I know some broadcasters that have rough preseasons, too, so we can relate.
Well, if you've listened to the first 12 minutes tonight, I
You're
think those
fine,
sentiments
don't worry.
are echoed. Wristed up the gut. Here's Regula at center. He'll shovel it behind Joseph, and that's going to be tracked down by Kudryavtsev. He's in trouble. Worked up the left-hand side. Settled by Szymanski. Chipped across, and now stepping up is Leppinen. Kudryavtsev able to free it up and carried up ice. Filipino, little burst. Around Tomashik. Leppinen cuts him off and forced him to give up the puck behind the net. Arshdeep Baines cycled down low. That was broken up. Regula up the right-hand side. A hard hit landed. As that was forced up, Quinn Hudson takes the brunt of that hit. And then cleared by the Canucks back through. Philip Roenick rifles one. That was intended for LeBate. An errant pass turns into an icing call against the Canucks, who've been outshot by the Oilers tonight by a count of 8-3. And it's McDavid from Draisaitl and Frederick at 1:28, and then Frederick himself from McDavid and Draisaitl 11:37.
So Hedl and Mancini were the primary players that came over in the JT Miller trade, and then they got a
Vincent Mancini, who's not playing tonight.
Right. And they got a number 1 from the Rangers that they then flipped to Pittsburgh and went out and got Pettersson and O'Connor. Marcus Pettersson. They then re-signed Pettersson's 6-year deal, O'Connor to a 2-year deal. They basically got, and Mancini's got a chance to make their team this year. I would suggest he's probably competing against P.O. Joseph for the 7th defense spot.
Ekholm, a little knuckle puck off the draw, set up for him on a tee. That's fielded flawlessly by Thatcher Demko, and it brings us to a timeout. 6:43 to go in the first period. Edmonton 2, Vancouver 0. McDavid and Frederick with the goals, and this is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
I'm here with Mike, a Ford employee, to hook me up with a deal on a new F-150.
Oh, with Ford employee pricing on now, you don't really need me. You pay what we pay.
So I just get your price?
Yep. Tell them Mike sent you. Or Maria. Or Namig.
Ford employee pricing is here, where you pay what Mike pays.
Or Genevieve. Or Elise. Or Kevy.
Right now, get up to $12,975 in total price adjustments on eligible 2025 F-150 models. For details, visit your Alberta Ford store or Ford.ca.
If you ever find yourself needing collision repair, CarStar is here to help make accidents unhappen. Any make, any model. That said, there are some accidents CarStar can't make unhappen, such as accidentally waking a hibernating bear, accidentally biting into a raw habanero pepper, accidentally throwing a frisbee at a beehive. CarStar, Canada's trusted collision repair expert, is here to make car accidents unhappen. For a location near you, visit carstar.ca.
When was the last time your electricity and natural gas provider made you feel like this? Low rates, no strings attached, year-round perks, and local energy experts who always have your back with Encore by Epcor. Find that carefree energy feeling at encore.epcor.com/carefree.
Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll-free.
All games, all seasons. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
2-0 Edmonton on goals by McDavid and Frederick. The Oilers' top line is converted twice here in the first 12 minutes tonight. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you in our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. Off the draw, won by Nugent Hopkins. Mangiapane to the point, and that was ripped wide. In the corner, Howard slid it in front. Nugent Hopkins hovering, tried to give it back to Howard. Came back to him on a deflection. Sent over to Emberson by Deneen. Right corner, a hard hit on Mangiapane. He's dropped in his tracks. Mangiapane's had a nice preseason, acquitting himself well in Edmonton's lineup after a 14-goal campaign last year in Washington, who had a couple of top 9 guys just have huge years, McMichael and Protas, and it left Mangiapane kind of sitting on the fourth line as a low shot thrown on net that Thatcher Demko puts to rest. That was heading wide from Cam Deneen, and we've got a whistle with 6:07 left to play in the first period. But Mangiapane, if he stays healthy, Bob, and stays at or near the top 6 or 9, I got to believe 20 goals is certainly a possibility.
If he doesn't finish the year in the top 9, it's not a good thing because he's signed to a 2-year deal. He has to contribute. He's got to be a middle 6 forward productivity-wise for the Oilers and score somewhere between 15 and 25 goals. And it's,
McDavid wins a face-off. Bouchard down low. Draisaitl in the corner. Forbert pressing, a centering pass picked up by Radu, but then he gave McDavid a second look at it. McDavid turned it over, Forbert the steal, and a clear back to center. How much of McDavid and Draisaitl together do you expect at the beginning of the season, Bob? We've seen them a lot together in the preseason.
I expect them to play a lot together, and then they'll have Howard and Savoy on different lines where they're not playing the 2 big boys. Easy to transition for those guys to take the step forward this year in the NHL. How's that for a philosophy?
Sasson will drop it. Well, it runs counter to what's typically been the thought process, is that Edmonton would be a better team with McDavid and Draisaitl on separate lines. Bob, do you think they'll ever go back to them on separate lines?
Yes, but not to start the year because they've had 4 starts to start the year.
Driving in right-hand side, Drew O'Connor. Bob alluding to the fact an 0-3 start last year, 6-7 after 13 games. The year prior, 2-9-1, and that start cost Jay Woodcroft his job and brought Chris Knobloch to Edmonton. Centering pass, Braden Coots behind the Edmonton net. That's intercepted and lifted off the glass and out by Leppinen. Too much on it, and that will be an icing call as Kapanen cannot get there in time. 4:46 to go in the first. Oilers have outshot the Canucks 9-3. McDavid and Frederick each with a goal and an assist. Draisaitl has had helpers on both Edmonton goals. Oilers come off a 4-0 win over Winnipeg on Friday. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Frederick did not play. They suited up against Seattle last Wednesday. Went -3 in a 4-1 loss, but obviously much better tonight. Philp will win on the face-off to the right of Stuart Skinner. Remember, Forbert hit a post early, and the Canucks really haven't done much since in terms of the offensive side of the puck. They've been defending. Clear by Joseph up the left-hand side. Here's Baines. A little change of pace on Regula, who forces him to the corner. Around the boards, picked up by Philip Hedl on the right-hand side. Hedl tied up. Now Leppinen trying to defend, powered off the puck, rolled in front. Baines, top of the right circle, moves it up. Pettersson to Marcus Pettersson. Centering pass out of the reach of Linus Karlsson, who was poised. Originally drafted by the San Jose Sharks. He's been a part-time player in the NHL the last couple years, but Bob and I, as we talked about, did see him twice And Vancouver's 7-game loss to Edmonton a couple years ago. Now Mangiapane scampers in from the left-hand side. Nugent Hopkins the trailer. Crowded, turned it over, shot from the point. Stopped by Demko, rebound kept alive. Thrown in front, what a save by Demko. Still available in the blue paint. Howard had a wide-open net and could not stuff it home.
Well, Demko fought that one off. That was a great save. Puck probably should have been finished there for the Edmonton Oilers.
Nugent Hopkins, Mangiapane, and Howard all had good stabs at it. The best save probably made on Howard by Demko, who then splayed out the left leg and was able to keep Edmonton's third goal from inching across the goal line. 3.5 to go, first period. McDavid and Frederick with Edmonton's goals. It's 2-0 for the Oilers, and we come back to Rogers Place with more Ford Dealers NHL hockey in just a moment on the Oilers Radio Network.
Bloom Benefits offers amazing coverage that even the toughest hockey players can get behind. With excellent coverage, they offer things like massage. You want to go? Counseling services. Let's go. Dental coverage. That was not offside. And eye exams. With custom health coverage for any group of any size, Bloom Benefits make every team better, stronger, and healthier. Plans start from just $54 a month. Rethink your benefits today at bloombenefits.ca.
Rogers is Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Leon scoring in Leduc. Watch Tide tie things up in Tofield. Or check out Connor doing Connor things in Kalmar. And even watch Stewart steal the show while you're in Sedalia. Try saying that 3 times fast. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers.
I'm here with Mike, a Ford employee, to hook me up with a deal on a new Super Duty.
Oh, with Ford employee pricing on now, you don't really need me. You pay what we pay.
So I just get your price?
Yep. Tell them Mike sent you. Or Maria. Or Namig.
Ford employee pricing is here, where you pay what Mike pays.
Or Genevieve. Or Elise. Or Kevy.
Right now, get up to $12,835 in employee price adjustments on eligible 2025 Super Duty models. For details, visit your Alberta Ford store, Ford.ca.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
McDavid wins a face-off to the right of Demko, but the Canucks were able to come up with a loose puck. Knocked off the stick of Roenick. Forced back in by the Canucks at Ratu. Muffed by Draisaitl momentarily in the corner. Bouchard comes over to give him a hand. Sasson, with Draisaitl trying to rake the puck out of his feet, desperately trying to hold the zone, was Forbert. Couldn't do it against Frederick, who has a goal and an assist tonight for the Oilers, who lead this game 2-0 as we go inside 3 minutes to play in this first period at Rogers Place. Good crowd on hand, and perhaps word got out that McDavid and Draisaitl will be in the lineup. Oilers are astride offside, 2:57 to go in the period. Well-attended game tonight, especially considering how beautiful it was this afternoon.
Got a penalty here to Evan Bouchard, maybe a high stick.
Edmonton penalty number 2, 2-minute minor for tripping.
Tripping call on Evan Bouchard. This will be a Vancouver power play.
Oh, yeah.
Oiler penalty kill this year. Bob, what do you expect in terms of changes with respect to approach? Let's start with approach.
Well, last year they really over-pursued with their forwards, and they were one of 3 teams in the league that killed penalties that way, and it wasn't very good.
They were middle of the pack. They finished 16. Now, and remember, they were atrocious in the first month.
Yes.
And really, after the first month of the season, Bob, they were close to a top 10 penalty killing.
But they had some issues in the playoffs around at different times.
Gotcha.
Right? So they're going to be less...
We've got a penalty, and this will even things up. The way Heedle's reacting, it may be on him. This will be just 4-on-4 for the next minute 52.
But just to clarify here, with the forwards, they're going to be in a much more traditional, less assertive,
more of a passive approach.
Much
like positionally sound passive approach.
Right. Don't beat yourself. And part of the problem was they would over-pursue last year, and then they were opening up, seams that teams were attacking, and they were giving up backdoor looks. So...
And they were all also, I think it's safe to say, Bob, they took a different approach than most of the other NHL clubs with respect to the penalty kill.
They were one of 3 teams to kill that way.
Off the draw to the right of Thatcher Demko. Edmonton controls. Again, 4-on-4 hockey, so a lot of open ice here over the next minute and a half. 2.5 to go in this first period. Edmonton leads 2-0 on goals by McDavid and Frederick. Cam Dineen. As the Oilers moving from left to right, they'll get a rematch with Vancouver, and that'll be a final dress rehearsal for both clubs. That'll be Friday night at Rogers Arena in Vancouver. And Bob and I will have to call that one as well. Prior to that, Oilers will dress a less fortified lineup in Seattle on Wednesday night. Cam Moon will have that call. Nugent Hopkins got a wrist shot off on the last sequence from the right circle that was turned aside by Thatcher Demko. Marcus Pettersson ahead. Braden Coots. The right-handed centerman kind of skated himself into trouble, turned it over, and now McDavid dashing down the left wing, pursued by Roenick. Pulls up, gives it up for Ekholm. Down low to Draisaitl, swept around the boards to Regula. He's powered against the boards by Sasson, shook it off, and then slid it over to Draisaitl. Up top for McDavid, top of the left circle, Draisaitl. Looking for room, has it. Fired one wide, blocker aside on Demko. Rebound came off the boards to Roenick, who will get it back from Forbert. And now Vancouver regrouping with 20 seconds left in the 4-on-4. McDavid and Draisaitl, well, 4-on-4 right in their wheelhouse. Stepping onto the ice, Joseph. Look for a give and go with Lekkerimäki. Didn't give it back to him. Lekkerimäki, also a first-round pick, also 15th overall. That was back in 22. Here's McDavid back across the line with inside a minute to play in this first period. Gets it back from Draisaitl. Hands to Bouchard, fresh out of the box. Edmonton on that abbreviated 8-second power play, which quickly comes to an end. We're back to 5-on-5 for the final 45 seconds. Right up the gut. Hedl to the net, denied by Skinner. His best save of the period as Philip Hedl found a seam in the Oiler defense and was denied. He split Leppinen and went hard to the hole, and Skinner stopped his left-handed bid to put the Canucks on the board.
If I'm Patrick Alvin and Jim Rutherford and the Vancouver Canucks and Adam Foote, I'm elated at what we're seeing out of Hedl. He's been head and shoulders their best player. He's creating looks every shift, and obviously they need him in the 2C hole this year. He's got to stay healthy. He's had some shoulder issues in the past.
Yeah, that also kind of set him back again, Bob. We thought he was, really going to be a breakout player for the Rangers.
Him and Kakko, right? We thought those guys. Geez.
And both showed, real promise, and neither could make it last. Again, Hedl's best season by far, the 23 campaign, when he put up 22 goals and 45 points. Off the draw, blasted on net, and a save made by Stuart Skinner as he found it through traffic against Elias Pettersson. Now, Elias Pettersson, of course, is the $11.5 million man. Elias Pettersson is the defenseman, third-round pick who broke out as a rookie last year. He earned 29 games with Vancouver.
They need Elias Pettersson to bounce.
Yes, in a big way. Especially now that JT Miller is captaining the New York Rangers. You talked about the acquisitions that Vancouver received in that deal, but the best player in that deal, I don't think there's any question that it's JT Miller.
What did Sam Pollock always say? Team that gets the best player wins the trade.
He had a little success in the NHL.
What did he know?
Leppinen spills it in, but this will be an icing call with 12 seconds left in this first period. And the Oilers on top by a count of 2-0. The shots are 12-6, and now Stuart Skinner awaits a face-off to his right. Skinner last year, once again, taking Edmonton to the Stanley Cup final. He earned wins in 7 of the Oilers' 14 postseason victories, as both he and Calvin Pickard accounted for 7. But the save percentage was sub-900, as was Thatcher Demko's last year. Skinner looking for a better regular season. Off the draw, Leppinen. With about 8 seconds, shovels it off the glass, and this should just about do it for the period. Taking one last skate will be Hedl, and indeed, that's the end of the first.
Well, that was decent first period for the Edmonton Oilers top line. Again, Vancouver dressing a go squad of what we're going to see here coming up Friday night in Vancouver, where I'm sure they're going to go with a dress rehearsal in their best lineup as well. And the Oilers' top line absolutely dominated play, but there were some looks for the second line as well. And I do think this is going to be Edmonton's second line to start the year with Howard, Nugent Hopkins, and Mangiapane. But McDavid, Draisaitl, and Frederick combining for 2 goals and completely tilted the ice, and really we shouldn't be that surprised.
Well, Bob was talking a little bit about Alec Regula, some of the plays he made in the first 10 minutes of this game, and right now he's standing by with our Aiden Gannum.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Alec, 20 minutes in, can you just take me through how you saw that from your point of view?
Yeah, it's fast. I think we're playing well. We're trying to play fast with the pace, and I think it's going well. We're up 2-0, so guys are pushing. We just look to keep it going here.
For sure. Now, you missed all of last season. You've played 4 preseason games, including this one. How do you feel it's gotten you back into the mix for the upcoming campaign?
Yeah, it's been good. I think I've been trying to get better every game, and, it's hard after missing a year. It's not perfect. Have some struggles, but I think there's been some good and some bad, and just overall good, and keep trying to get better.
Thanks a lot, Alec.
Thank you.
Aiden, appreciated. And Bob, I think it was telling. What did he say twice in the first sentence? Fast. When you've missed a year, probably everything seems fast. And as you've talked about, at times in that first period, it looked like the game had slowed down for him.
Well, he made a tremendous cross-seam pass that probably should have resulted in a goal. Open up the ice, and they got 2 cracks off of it. And, the guy can make plays, and he's 6'4", and he's a right shot. Jack, I have a bias, and my bias is 6'3" right shot centers and 6'4" right shot D. I like right shot guys that can make plays.
Is there a spot for him though? And Bob, where is it? If there is a spot for him,
there could be if you go 13-8. And
in terms of your preseason, in terms of your roster to start the year,
especially because Hyman is going to be out at the start of the year, you can put him on LTIR. Are you concerned that Boston would look at claiming him back? I think that's a conversation point you got to have. And then how do you get him the requisite games? The other thing to have done was to put him down early.
Well,
right?
if you go 13 forwards, here's my question to you. Especially without Zach Hyman, there's some questions about what Edmonton's top 6, top 9 is going to look like. Who could that potentially squeeze out if you're only going 13 forwards?
We'll have to wait and see, right?
Yeah.
I think Adam Henrique will bounce back this year. Janmark is a useful role player. We scored 2 goals last year, and so it's going to be interesting. Do you keep Noah Philp here? I think Philp would get claimed. I think Philp's more likely to get claimed on waivers than, say, Regula, because Philp had 19 goals in the 2 full seasons that he's played in A, and he's a center.
I assume you have Tomashik and Howard on the team? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
And now, the easiest thing to do is just to send Howard down because he doesn't have to clear. I have Tomashik on the team to start the year. You didn't sign that guy, bring him over from Sweden to not give him some games in the top 9, too. He didn't come here to sign to play in the 4th line. So they're going to have some decisions to make over the next 3 games. And, in fact,
could a couple spots flip in this final week?
Yes, they could.
Okay.
100%.
So, in other words, this team, in terms of its final roster composition for opening night against Calgary, has not been decided.
100% fair.
So 2 or 3 slots open?
Well, 2 or 3 slots. I might argue 3rd, 4th line center. Yeah. We could have Tomashik and Philp. We could have Tomashik and Lazar. We could have Henrique and Lazar. We could have Henrique and Philp. There's an example.
Perfect. There. All right. Well, 20 minutes complete here tonight. Edmonton 3-1-1 entering this game. Again, the Oilers 48 regular season wins a year ago and another trip to the Stanley Cup Final. Vancouver, after taking Edmonton to Game 7 in 2024, disappointing regular season. Rick Tocchet moves on. Adam Foote comes in. So the Canucks with lots to prove and eager to return to the postseason. But again, as Bob talked about, dressing a decidedly inferior lineup, at least on paper, to Edmonton's tonight. And the result is a 2-0 Oiler lead. McDavid from Draisaitl and Frederick at a minute 28. Frederick from McDavid and and Draisaitl at 11:37. 2-0 Edmonton after 1. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Looking for the ultimate dinner and show experience? Look no further than Edmonton's famous Mayfield Dinner Theater, where you'll enjoy world-class productions and delectable dining in a new renovated theater. Whether it's date night, a work party, a celebration, or a spontaneous night out with friends, your experience at the Mayfield Dinner Theater is sure to be a memorable one. The 2025-2026 season is on sale now, so check out the exciting lineup of shows and get your tickets today at mayfieldtheater.ca.
Here's what's new at 880ched.com.
880 Ched has teamed up with New West Travel to give you the chance to fly away with Stacy to Thailand. Keep it dialed in from September 2nd to October 3rd for your word of the day. When you hear it, enter it at 880ched.com. Then listen on October 6th to see if you'll be heading off on a dream tour to Thailand.
Get your name on our insider list today and keep up to date on pre-sales, contests, and more. Visit 880ched.com. This is At the Intermission on the Oilers Radio Network.
Bouchard right point for Leon Draisaitl. Outside the right circle, McDavid loads, tries to center, a wrist shot blocked, a rebound. Draisaitl knocked it off a defenseman and banked home ultimately by McDavid. The Oilers flurry in front of the Canuck net. And that puck was banked off a defenseman by Draisaitl and rattled around and eventually found its way in. I think it actually should be McDavid, though, initially.
That is our Highlight Zone, brought to you by Century Casinos. All in, all games, all season. Century Casinos, 3 great locations in Edmonton, St. Albert, and next to the Edmonton International Airport. Welcome to the Winner's Zone. McDavid in that top line, I mean, it looked like the top line. And it looked like a top line Rob Brown that was going up against, as Bob put it, a ghost roster of the Vancouver Canucks.
Wow.
Not a ton of pushback out there, but it was a quality showing in the 2-0 lead in building that, I think.
Well,
we got you.
If you look,
you can't hear yourself?
Can you hear me on this
I got
one?
you.
Oh, sorry. Somehow I've lost my hearing in my headphones here. But if you look at the roster that we saw when we got it handed at the beginning of the game, there was a mismatch with the Oilers' top 6 compared to what the Vancouver Canucks had in their lineup. And you expected Connor and Leon to take full advantage of that, and they did. There were 2 different lineups out there. When Connor and Leon were on the ice, it was completely different than when they were off the ice. And Trent Frederick...
All right. I can't hear Rob Brown now. You want to try that thing one more time?
Hello?
Hi. Now I've got you.
You think after 20 years I'd be able to figure all this stuff out. But, the first line has been dominant. And Trent Frederick, who had a very, very quiet first game with Connor and Leon, much more noticeable tonight. He scored the goal by hanging out in the blue paint. He knocked, I think it was Elias Pettersson, he knocked him through the net on another chance. On the goal that Connor McDavid scored from behind the net, one of the reasons is Frederick was taking up space in the front of the net, and everyone was kind of coming at him, and McDavid was left alone. So the Canucks came out with a not a skilled group, but a very hard-working group. A lot of physicality from the Canucks early. But when Connor and Leon was on the ice, it was tilted, and it was tilted badly.
Yeah, I noticed that too, not only in terms of how the ice was tilted in that sense, but the way that Vancouver, with guys like Kiefer Sherwood, were out there finishing checks. Yep. There's no doubt about it. These guys are trying to assert themselves the way that they do in the bottom part of Vancouver's regular lineup, and there were some big body checks thrown, but Edmonton didn't get caught up in that. They had a mature approach, I thought, through that first 20 minutes.
Well, the very first shift, there were 2 huge hits. Sherwood threw one of them, and then the second shift, also in the first minute of play, Forbort rocked Draisaitl. So there was 3 big hits by the Canucks in the first minute. But the Oilers, they absorbed them and then just continued playing, and they outshot the Canucks 12-6, had the majority of the great scoring chances. And players that, Brendan, that we were looking at tonight, and we talked before the game, Trent Frederick, I wanted to see how he would adapt in Game 2 with Connor and Leon. He's been very, very good. But the other one we talked about was Isaac Howard. He's playing tonight in an offensive role with Nugent Hopkins and Mangiapane. and had a couple really good looks. And Thatcher Demko was by far the busier of the two goaltenders, and 2 or 3 big saves in the same sequence against Isaac Howard. So the Oilers' top 6 have looked like a top 6, and they should, because they're playing against a Vancouver Canucks team that's missing a number of their best players.
And in 30 seconds or less, if this Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Mangiapane, and Howard line is indeed the second line, what do you like about that mix?
They're all heady. They all have high hockey IQ. Quick on the puck. I think that we saw in a couple of the shifts out there just their retrieval and creating havoc in the offensive zone and keeping plays alive. And the goal-scoring chances that they had were plays that they kept alive where the Canucks had control of the puck, were pestered by one of those 3, and then eventually they took it to the net. So high hockey IQ with offensive pedigree, and they created a number of good chances.
Yes, they absolutely did. That's our Rob Brown, our Inside the Game analyst. He's back after 40 minutes of play. We're 2-0 Oilers after 20 minutes of play at the intermission. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Pizza 73, the official pizza of your Edmonton Oilers. Loyal to the oil, in Edmonton we trust. Rising to the top like a pizza crust. Got the flavors to play, yeah. Cooking on ice. Hunger happens, gotta score a slice. Let's go Oilers, E-Town unite. Ice District to Jasper, downtown to White. Wearing orange and blue, game on the street. Make the right call, Pizza 73. Let's go Oilers. 737373, Pizza 73.
Are insects invading your home? I'm Tyler, a trained expert with Able Pest Control. In your home or business, insects can be a big concern. Just ask Emma.
I had ants and spiders in my kitchen and basement, and I was worried they would infest other areas of my home. I picked up the phone and called Able.
Good call, Emma. I was glad I could help. At Able, we love what we do, and we know how to keep your property and family protected.
Able, we're on it.
My name is Tyler with Able Pest Control, and I'm on it.
Businesses deserve the best protection against cyber threats. Alltech offers state-of-the-art IT and cybersecurity solutions to safeguard digital assets. The team of experts at Alltech are dedicated to providing the highest level of security, ensuring that data remains safe and operations are seamless. With Alltech, businesses can focus on growth while the rest is handled. From advanced threat detection to comprehensive data security, Alltech has it covered. Choose Alltech for reliable and effective cybersecurity. Visit alt-tech.ca now to learn more.
Now this update from the Canadian Press. For the first time in 10 years, the Toronto Blue Jays have won the American League East Division in the MLB. Toronto's 13-4 win over the Tampa Bay Rays locked up the top seed in the league to secure home field advantage and a bye to the best-of-5 division series, which begins Saturday at Rogers Center. The Jays will face the winner of the 3-game wildcard series between the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. Prime Minister Mark Carney is back in Ottawa following his meetings with the UK, Australian, Icelandic, and Spanish prime ministers in London on Friday. The trip did not see any new trade deals or formal announcements. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is working on new ceasefire plans with the White House a day ahead of his planned meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump. And police in Winnipeg are asking the public for clues as they try to solve a theft of 2 paintings from an art gallery's warehouse. From the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed.
Whether you're building a home, a community, or championship team, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens one step, one shift, one brick at a time. Coventry Homes, never done building. The official builder of the Edmonton Oilers, proudly celebrating 50 years. Visit coventryhomes.ca.
The Citadel Theatre invites you to join them for the extraordinary journey of Pai Patel, a young boy shipwrecked and stranded on a lifeboat with only a Bengal tiger for company. Life of Pai at the Citadel Theatre until October 5th. Immerse yourself in Yan Martel's harrowing tale as Pai struggles to survive, confronting the limits of his faith and his resilience. It's a visually stunning theatrical experience you do not want to miss. Get your tickets now for Life of Pi at the Citadel box office or at citadeltheatre.com.
At Fountain Tire, we're fluent in saving you money.
Fluent?
Yes, we've mastered the language of deals. Like right now, you can save up to 25% off select tires and up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires. Plus, $50 off $150 service when you buy those tires. All until October 18th.
I'm sorry, I don't speak deals.
Spend less, save more when you buy Round Black things from us.
Oh, got it.
Restrictions apply. Book your appointment online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
This is At the Intermission on the Oilers Radio Network.
Time now for the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. Let's go around the rest of the National Hockey League with the scores from preseason action tonight. Carolina Hurricanes doubling up the Nashville Predators in the third period. It's 2-1 there. The Devils are down 2-0. No, that's a final, actually. 2-0 the Senators taking care of New Jersey. Other two games are finals as well. It's the Capitals knocking off another New Jersey team. They had split squad action tonight, evidently. Caps won 3-2 in a shootout. Blackhawks beat the Wild 4-1, and Connor Bedard had an absolutely sensational goal. Sensational. No, it was an assist. That's what I'm thinking of, not the goal. His teammate did, because he set it up with a no-look backhand pass. That's what the sensationalism was by Connor Bedard, and he definitely needs a bounce-back season. It is 2-0 here in Edmonton. And I guess I should mention the Toronto Blue Jays absolutely hammered on Tampa Bay this afternoon to clinch the American League East Division, as you heard in the newscast, for the first time in a decade. So now we await the winner of the Yankees and Red Sox series. We'll find out in about 5 days' time who the Jays play. Excited for that. Excited for the rest of this hockey game. We've got 40 more minutes of hockey action live from Rogers Place. This has been At the Intermission. Your Ford dealers NHL hockey is coming right back up here. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with the play-by-play on the Oilers Radio Network.
You've been listening to At the Intermission on the Oilers Radio Network. Hey, Edmonton. Big moves need big talent, and AMJ is your go-to partner. For all local residential and commercial relocations, AMJ delivers a smooth, stress-free experience. AMJ, your team for every move. Contact your local branch today.
Rogers is Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Leon scoring in Ledoux. Watch Ty tie things up in Tofield. Or check out Connor doing Connor things in Kalmar. And even watch Stewart steal the show while you're in Sedalia. Try saying that 3 times fast. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers.
Wherever Canadians raise a glass, you'll find Molson. There's a good reason for that. When you've been in Canada for over 230 years, you get around in the cups and fridges of Canadians, generation after generation. Molson has a beer for everyone this summer. So raise a glass or cup or whatever you pour your Molson in, because it doesn't matter what it's in. It matters where it's from. Canadian, export, ultra, excel, Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Hey, Edmonton. Big moves need big talent, and AMJ is your go-to partner. For all local residential and commercial relocations, AMJ delivers a smooth, stress-free experience. AMJ, your team for every move. Contact your local branch today. All games, all season. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Back in our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth, Jack Michaels with a call of tonight's game. The Oilers rolling out a starting lineup of Nugent Hopkins, Howard, and Mangiapane to start the game, and they'll start the second period as well alongside defensemen Cam Dineen and Ty Emberson. We want to welcome Coventry Homes back to the fold, your proud sponsor of your starting lineup. Coventry celebrating 50 years, putting together a great team, one shift, one brick at a time. And here we go, with Nugent Hopkins losing the opening draw to Ratu, Frederick, and McDavid with first period goals for the Oilers, who lead this game 2-0. Edmonton's home preseason finale, a lead pass out of the reach of Mangiapane. That'll be icing against Edmonton. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer, Brendan Escott, and Rob Brown with you this year on the Oilers Radio Network. Of course, Cam Moon will shepherd 37 of the first 41 regular season games, as well as a preseason tilt between the Edmonton Oilers and the Seattle Kraken. We'll have that one for you on Wednesday night live from the Pacific Northwest. Face-off won by Nugent Hopkins, lifted off the glass and out by Ty Emberson. And now Howard walking in. That was knifed off his stick and then chipped in front of a one-timer from Mangiapane. Was blocked, a setup by Nugent Hopkins, and the Oilers have to vacate the zone. What about Ty Emberson versus Troy Stecher, Bob? Will that again be, a real battle in terms of who solidifies as the number 6? Icing coming against Vancouver.
Well, I know this. If you have Troy Stecher as your number 7 defenseman, you probably have a pretty good defense. And the Athletic is doing their D rankings. They did their D rankings just before free agency. And guess which team they ranked number 1 at center and number 1 on defense?
Edmonton.
And there is another guy to factor in here, and that's Alec Regula. If they keep the 8, that'll be 3 right shot guys. So we'll have to keep monitoring that. But Stecher gives you what he's got, well respected by his teammates.
One-timer ripped wide by Ekholm. With the Oilers already having 4 established left-handed defensemen, what does Leppinen have to do to eventually get a look?
I mean, I think he's a guy that goes down, quarterbacks the power play in the minors. And, puck movement, works on his defensive awareness to get used to the North American game and the ice surface. And then it's injuries, frankly.
McDavid to Frederick to Draisaitl in front, and that was chipped away from McDavid, then held in by the Oiler captain, who uses a screen from Frederick to roll back toward the net, and then Frederick wired a one-timer off the side of the net. He didn't get all he wanted on that shot, and Ratu was able to swiftly advance the puck through the neutral zone left to right and pop it back into the Oiler end. Draisaitl fights off a trio of Canucks, got it ahead to Ekholm, and now McDavid walks in left circle, and as he tried to nudge it to the middle, it was broken up.
Frederick got away with the pick there.
Canucks the other way. Bain, centering pass wide open in front and trying to drag it to his backhand. Hedl unable to finish the play, but Bob Hedl has seemingly factored in most every scoring chance Vancouver's had.
Again, Canucks should be excited. If he's skating and playing like he is tonight, they got something. He could have easily had 2 or 3 goals.
Knocked off the stick. That looked like too many men.
They got called on it.
Yeah, there it is. I thought the Oilers had 6-on-5 for a second, and they did. And the penalty comes at 2:11 of the second period. And Vancouver will be awarded the game's 3rd power play. 2 for Vancouver, but the prior power plays for each side lasted just 8 seconds. This one, too many men on the ice, and the Canucks will get an offensive zone face-off to the left of Stuart Skinner. What do you make of the mood of camp thus far, Bob, as compared to, say, last year?
So I think there's greater urgency to have a better start on a multitude of fronts. And there's one storyline, obviously, the Connor McDavid ongoing contract scenario that...
It's hovering.
Right? It should be mentioned. I just talked about this with, some of the guys that aren't playing tonight. I mean, where's Kirill Kaprizov's deal? Where's Jack Eichel's deal? What about Kempe? What about Kyle Connor? None of those guys have signed extensions either.
Well, I know, but none of those guys are named Connor McDavid.
Yeah, there you go. And therein lies the rub.
11 seconds.
It would not surprise me if you'd see 2 or 3 deals signed by October the 21st, as an example.
Do you see McDavid being one of those?
I think there's a chance something could get consummated at some point here.
Lekkerimäki from Roenick, a wrist shot, missed high glove on Stuart Skinner. Held in and punched down low by Forbert. Lekkerimäki behind the net for Kiefer Sherwood. Sherwood spent a couple years in Nashville. And when we talked with Andrew Burnett last year, the head coach of the Predators, he said one of the reasons they had a disappointing season, he felt they lacked the energy that Sherwood brought on a nightly basis. Lekkerimäki is shot off the right pads of Stuart Skinner, and the rebound cleared by Quinn Hudson. That deflects out of play, or excuse me, Curtis Lazar. That deflects out of play, and the faceoff will come back inside the Edmonton line. 3 minutes gone by in the second period. Curtis Lazar, last year a member of the New Jersey Devils, of course, no stranger to Edmonton, won a couple of Western Hockey League championships with the Edmonton Oil Kings, and capped off his junior career with a 2014 win in the Memorial Cup.
Which was a surprise that year. Edmonton was not the favorite in the tournament.
Portland was, right? I mean, out of the Western League, yes. High slot, shot deep, Draisaitl. I mean, for a while there, it was Portland and Edmonton kind of ping-ponging back and forth.
3 years in a row.
And Portland had won it in 2013. And, I mean, I'm going by memory, Bob. I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, I thought the Winterhawks were the favorite in 2014 as well.
They were. Okay. 2012, the Oil Kings were, and 14 after Portland won in 13. Edmonton had two pretty significant injuries in 2013, including Griffin Reinhart. Remember him?
Bouchard wound around the boards. Draisaitl will settle it down for Vancouver. Just 15 seconds and the penalty being served by Noah Philp to Edmonton for too many men on the ice. Chipped in deep by Max Sasson, who got spilled behind the net. Draisaitl tracked it down, put it off the boots of Bouchard, and then a backhander off the post and out of play. Yet another turnover in a weird ping-pongy type sequence, and it was Linus Karlsson who watched as Sasson lifted it off the goalpost, and he was sitting right there backdoor for a rebound that never came because it came off the part where the crossbar meets the goalpost, and the Oilers have gotten a few bounces off posts, and they maintain a 2-0 lead. There have been a couple of miscues in the Edmonton zone that have created probably Vancouver's best chances.
Evan Bouchard has had one of those nights that the critics point to.
Joseph, one-timer set up for Oman, couldn't make contact with the puck.
But I'll take the playoff performances from Evan Bouchard.
Well, they're historic. I mean, he's a top 3 defenseman all time in playoff scoring. That's just the way it is.
Yep. Elevates come crunch time.
And that's points per game. But, Bob, he's creeping up into the top 20 for all-time points regardless of games played. I mean,
he's 26.
Yeah, there it is. I mean, he's 26, and he's not 26 years old yet, right? He's 25? Or is he 26 now? I'm getting old.
You're right, he's 25. This is his 26-year-old. Jack, you know what's interesting here with this is everybody's like, has the Oilers' window closed? Well, if McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard are here, their window has not closed. I mean, they would have as good a trio as their triumvirate, if you may, as anybody in the league. I mean,
and they still have the support players in Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, Nurse, and Ekholm.
Yes.
So it's not just 3 men and, you know, a bunch of guys that can't play.
What they do have to do is they have to develop some younger players and stick with them and play those guys.
Well, and the guys I assume you're talking about are Ike Howard, Matt Savoy, who's not in the lineup tonight.
Even put Colson, Emerson, Regula, even a couple older guys like Philp and Tomasik. They got to give those guys some playing time and let them play and see what they can do.
Shot from Atu Ratu, stopped by Stuart Skinner. You keep mentioning Regula. Bob, I mean, you just talked about the fact that the Oilers are number 1 rated defense. Yeah. Where on earth is Regula going to find games?
And that's a great point. And that's what they're going to have to figure out. Can they sneak him down? Now, we should mention Jake Wallman is not available right now. So he is out. So we've not seen him at practice. We know Chris Knobloch confirmed the other night that he's not available.
He also said it's nothing serious.
Yes.
Icing call coming against Edmonton. But
Jake has played in his career 79% of the games. He's missed 21% of the games that he's been available to play due to injury.
But again, I'm not sure.
And he's a 22-minute-a-game guy when he's in.
You said if Stetcher's your 7,
you got
aren't Stetcher and Emerson still ahead of Regula?
At this point,
in my mind, they are.
Yes, at this point.
Yeah. Ekholm lifting back to center. Frederick on to Draisaitl, tried to slide it over to McDavid. Instead goes left wing for Ekholm in the offensive zone. Edmonton with a 2-0 lead. 5.5 gone by in the second period. Oilers' home preseason finale. They'll play in Seattle on Wednesday and a rematch with the Canucks and a final dress rehearsal for both clubs on Friday night. Bob and I will have that one for you. Here's Atu Ratu. Swung around the boards back towards center. 16 years for Bob Stauffer and I in our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. And that means 6 years for Cam Moon. Chipped ahead. Backhander denied. Skinner. And the rebound funnels its way. I didn't ever see it across the goal line, but they're calling it a goal on the ice. Stuart Skinner isn't sure it made its way home, but Derek Forbert thinks he has Vancouver's first goal of the night at 6:03 of the second. Skinner made the first save, and they're going to talk about it. Bob, I have to say, I never saw it cross the goal line.
I did. It was I'm pretty sure I saw it cross the line. It was a good goal, but the Oilers got caught flat-footed there.
Forbert, yeah, it's in.
Yeah, that's a good goal.
Skinner is saying he thought he had it long enough. Bob, to my way of thinking, he didn't. I don't think he has this long enough. Now, he is saying Forbert's pushing the pad across, and there's an argument.
Jack, here's where it gets tricky. You only have select preseason games where you have video review.
Well, they're discussing whether or not Skinner's pad was forced across the line. That's what Skinner's saying. He's not even necessarily saying he had it long enough for a whistle. He's just saying that pad was moved across the line. Let's get Corey Severet's interpretation.
After reviewing the play, the call on the ice is going to be no goal.
There it is.
Goal interference.
Pad pushed across. And that was Skinner's claim to begin with. And I think he's got a pretty good argument. It did get across the line, but Forbert kind of muscled that pad behind the goal line, allowing the puck to trickle in. So 2-0, the score remains.
By the way, you mentioned, as I'm watching Marcus Pettersson have a conversation with the officiating crew, how did you get the nickname the Dragon? I've never heard of that nickname before.
The Dragon?
Did you not say they call Marcus?
Yeah. I haven't told you that story?
No,
So Marcus Pettersson, growing up in Sweden, you'll never guess how he got the nickname the Dragon. It wasn't playing ice hockey. He got the nickname the Dragon on the basketball court in Sweden. He apparently was a fairly decent basketball player. Evan Bouchard, as you and I both know, was an accomplished high school basketball player. But Marcus Pettersson, the Dragon nickname originated from his prowess on the basketball court.
Well, I did not know that.
Well, it's preseason, Bob. I'm here to screw up a couple times and also educate.
No. It's that sort of useless, superfluous information that people come to for this.
By the way, when you were talking about Vincent Mancini, I think you'd agree with me. When you say the name Mancini, one name and one name only comes to mind.
Boom Boom or Henry?
I would say Ray Boom Boom Mancini, 100%. Kiefer Sherwood, a save made by Stuart Skinner. Of course, I grew up less than 2 hours from Youngstown, Ohio. Here's Nugent Hopkins gliding across the line, loading, and then waited too long to center. Mangiapane tried to force one toward the net, and that skipped wide. Cam Dineen on the puck for the Oilers. Had a great year last season in Bakersfield, tried to backhand it in, and that was broken up as well. Dineen got the 4 games up in Edmonton. His first in a while. Here's Howard in the vicinity, but it popped off the heel of his stick, and Braden Coots able to clear for Vancouver back towards center. Leppin and over to Regula.
This line's looked pretty good. They should have a couple goals. They've had a couple tap-ins that they haven't been able to finish off.
Yeah, Howard's been around the net all night. Nugent Hopkins has set the table a couple of times. Off an Oiler dump in. Philip Hronek up to Linus Karlsson. He battles left wing. Unable to make a play as Max Sasson, and Regula will twist it back toward Leppinen. 12.5 to play in the second period. 2-0 in favor of the Oilers. Goals for Trent Frederick and Connor McDavid. Centering pass, Noah Philp, intended for Kapanen. That was broken up. The puck exits the zone. Advanced through to Baines, who got a piece to negate any sort of icing, and then Regula tried to swing it out. Didn't get it done. Joseph Kudryavtsev, a shot, and a save made by goaltender Stuart Skinner. P.O. Joseph up the right-hand side. P.O. stands for Pierre Olivier. member of the Pittsburgh Penguins, also some time in St. Louis last year. Dump in by the Oilers. Joseph off the gut. That was broken up. Quickly tracked by Tomashik. He tried to bounce it down low looking for Quinn Hudson. It was immediately reversed back through center for Ekholm and then on to Bouchard. Szymanski tried to punch it down deep. That was canceled out by Joseph, and Vancouver's offside with 11:30 to play in the second period, and the Oilers leading by a count of 2-0. Shots are 13-8 Edmonton. McDavid from Draisaitl and Frederick. Frederick from McDavid and Draisaitl. First period goals have staked Edmonton to a 2-0 lead as we approach the midway point of this preseason contest. And you're listening to it on 880 CHED and the Oilers Radio Network. It's Four Dealers NHL Hockey, and it continues in just a moment live from downtown Edmonton.
When the Oilers are on the ice, the big hits are a part of the game. But they shouldn't be a part of your drive. If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown & Associates and their over 200 years of combined injury law experience help you. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown & Associates is ready to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
At Fountain Tire, we're fluent in saving you money.
Fluent?
Yes, we've mastered the language of deals. Like right now, you can save up to 25% off select tires and up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires. Plus, $50 off $150 service when you buy those tires. All until October 18th.
I'm sorry, I don't speak deals.
Spend less, save more when you buy round black things from us.
Oh, got it.
Restrictions apply. Book your appointment online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Bloom Benefits offers amazing coverage that even the toughest hockey players can get behind. With excellent coverage, they offer things like massage. You want to go? Counseling services. Let's go. Dental coverage. That was not offside. And eye exams. With custom health coverage for any group of any size, Bloom Benefits make every team better, stronger, and healthier. Plans start from just $54 a month. Rethink your benefits today at bloombenefits.ca.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Tonight's Oiler 50-50 presented by Rogers back once again for NHL preseason action. Oilers lead this game 2-0 as we approach the midway point of the second period. Tonight's early bird prizing includes a signed Oilers sweater and a pair of lower bowl tickets for the Oilers against the Utah Mammoth on October the 28th. Right now the 50-50 jackpot sitting at just under $50K. McDavid and Draisaitl pour across the line right to left. Frederick, left wing centering pass. That was broken up. And the Canucks left to right bring it the other way. You and I haven't had a chance to talk since they went Mammoth. Here's McDavid off a turnover, 2-on-1 with Draisaitl a one-timer, and he flipped one wide. Got it off the heel of his stick. Demko lost his goaltending stick in the process, and it was cleared by the Canucks down the right-hand side. Draisaitl to McDavid. Powers through one man, gives it back to Draisaitl. Sent across to Mangiapane. And his return pass gobbled up by Draisaitl. Out to Emberson. Now Cam Dineen is open left circle. He waits and shoots off the outside of the left goal post. Dineen down in the American Hockey League last year, 43 points in 54 games. Another chance forced in front and funneled wide. Mike Howard once again in the vicinity. Mangiapane to Nugent Hopkins, tried to go backdoor, and that went off the skate of Marcus Pedersen. Braden Coots comes over. As Vancouver hemmed in right now, finally Drew O'Connor able to bust up the cycle. And now it's 2-on-2 for Vancouver if it wanted, but they were at the end of a shift and they'd spend most of it defending. So they dump it in and clear.
Oilers have had a lot of chances in around the net, haven't been able to poke pucks past Demko and missed the net on some jam plays down low.
Probably tried an extra pass they didn't need at times. Linus Karlsson will give it up left wing. Baines put it down low. Arshdeep Baines, 3 years in Abbotsford, who, as Bob talked about, won the Calder Cup last year in the American Hockey League. Open man, Kudryavtsev out to Joseph. His drive was blocked. Kudryavtsev against Curtis Lazar, maintaining down low. Hard hit on Carlson. Baines kept it alive for Joseph. Kudryavtsev right circle, threw it across, broken up by Emberson, off the plexiglass and flipped out by Noah Philp. 9 minutes to play. Second period. Oilers 2, Canucks no score. There's been nary a goal in this second period. Oilers just one shot in 11 minutes of the second period. Bob, to your point about perhaps an extra pass or two. Oh, a big hit on Leppinen. He got absolutely pulverized by LeBate. A wrist shot by Roenick hit his own man in the face. And that's an injured McEachran who hobbles off as Skinner comes up with a loose puck at the top of the blue paint. So that was a hard-hitting sequence. Leppinen trying to shake it off. And meanwhile, McEachran took a puck to the face off a deflected shot. Skinner ended up making a pretty decent save on Sasson backdoor, Bob, to preserve, it was Niels Oman who had the best chance with 8.5 to go in the second period. Skinner now credited with 10 saves, and the Oilers hold a 2-0 lead. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey live from Rogers Place, the Oilers Radio Network.
When was the last time your electricity and natural gas provider made you feel like this? Low rates, no strings attached, year-round perks, and local energy experts who always have your back with Encore by Epcor. Find that carefree energy feeling at encore.epcor.com/carefree.
Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll-free.
Rogers is Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Leon's scoring in Leduc. Watch Ty tie things up in Tofield. Or check out Connor doing Connor things in Kalmar. And even watch Stewart steal the show while you're in Sedalia. Try saying that 3 times fast. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers.
I'm here with Mike, a Ford employee, to hook me up with a deal on a new F-150.
Oh, with Ford employee pricing on now, you don't really need me. You pay what we pay.
So I just get your price?
Yep. Tell them Mike sent you. Or Maria. Or Namig.
Ford employee pricing is here, where you pay what Mike pays.
Or Genevieve. Or Elise. Or Kevy.
Right now, get up to $12,975 in total price adjustments on eligible 2025 F-150 models. For details, visit your Alberta Ford store or Ford.ca.
All games, all seasons. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
2-0 Edmonton, a big hit on Leppinen just moments ago. And then Mackenzie McEachran took a puck in the face. Oman stopped on the doorstep by Stuart Skinner, and the Oilers' 2-0 lead, forged in the first period on goals by McDavid and Frederick, remain intact. Face-off win for the Canucks. Roenick can't thread one through. And now it's Szymanski able to fish it out of there back towards center. Turning and clearing is Quinn Hudson. Of course, his brother Lane just tore up the league last year in Montreal. Quinn joined the Oilers late, got a couple games in at the National Hockey League level, product of Boston University.
The other brother that's already at BU, Cole Hudson, he had a great year last year, Jack. Led the Americans to U.S. World Junior Championship.
Here's Roenick, chipping it up the left-hand side. Ratu at center. And now Lekramaki from the right wing tried to, again, force one into the middle. The Oilers broke it up and put it right back through the neutral zone. Roenick ahead and on the move comes Kiefer Sherwood. Still swinging around the boards. Braden Coots. O'Connor, net front. Marcus Pettersson gives it up to Coots, and now Sherwood. Spins top of the left circle, rolls up top, takes a shot, deflected just wide, and Coots was in the vicinity. Scored 26 goals last year for Seattle in the Western Hockey League, and again drafted 15th overall by the Canucks this summer. Fired in by Elias Pettersson. Sherwood unable to hold the zone. Elias Pettersson will get another chance to play. Angled one off the boards for Coots. Pawing at it against Matthias Ekholm. Sherwood keeps it alive. Shot from distance. Snagged by Skinner at the expense of Pierre-Olivier Joseph. And with 6:50 to play in the second period, Skinner's 12th save secures Edmonton's lead at 2-0. How long is this broadcast going to go before you congratulate me on Cleveland's 20-4 finish in the American League Central title? Because I know you're not that interested in the Blue Jays. You're on their bandwagon because they won the
I'm not
East
on their
today.
bandwagon at all. I don't.
You've been talking a little baseball lately.
Not a lot.
Here's a drive
Cleveland
from
went-
distance.
So who?
They won 20-4. They were 15 games behind Detroit in August, and they won the title today. 6:45 to go in the second.
Now, were they the
Skinner
team
puts
that-
another shot to rest.
They got unbelievable pitching. They gave up. Like
Yes.
30. Okay.
Including Edmonton's Eric Sabrowski.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when they were nicknamed. They don't call them the Tribe anymore, do they? But
no, we're not supposed to.
I know, but when they were
yes,
in the early '90s, they had all those.
I thought their previous name, Indians, was okay. I was not crazy about the Chief Wahoo logo.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. Here's Draisaitl to McDavid. Button hooks to the corner. Harsh deep veins. Ridiculous and offensive.
But they had Carlos Baerga and all.
Oh, sure.
They had a good
Albert Bell.
Yeah.
Kenny Lofton.
They had some players.
Eddie Murray. Jim Thome. Manny Ramirez.
Yes.
Draisaitl to McDavid. Draisaitl back to McDavid. To the net. A save made by Thatcher Demko. Forced wide on the rebound. Here's McDavid. Shot Bouchard and a save made by Thatcher Demko with 6 minutes to go in the second period. 2-0 Edmonton. I'm just saying, like, if Atlanta can be called the Braves and still be doing the tomahawk chop.
Yeah. Well, what about the Florida State Seminoles? What? Right?
Yeah, that's
right.
You mean the flaming arrow at midfield? They got knocked off Friday night at the University of Virginia.
I know, but it's a little confusing.
So a face-off to the left of Thatcher Demko. 6 minutes to play, second period. Oilers lead at 2-0 on goals by McDavid and Trent Frederick. Top line has looked good tonight. Nugent Hopkins, Mangiapane, and Howard have been around it all night. Just haven't finished. And as Bob told you early in this broadcast, considering Edmonton's top six compared to Vancouver's, not that much of a surprise. Off the draw, a shot deflected out, a play off the tape of Regula, and that skips into the netting and brings us to a timeout on the ice. 5:55 to play in period two. The Oilers lead it by 2. It's 2-0. And the Oilers' home preseason finale. It's Edmonton, Vancouver. It's Bob and Jack reunited from Rogers Place in downtown Edmonton. The Oilers Radio Network.
Looking for custom flags, banners, or canopy tents? Aurora Flags and Banners has a dedicated team to provide you with custom solutions and quality products. Aurora Flags has proudly serviced Canadian businesses and organizations for more than 30 years. Get a quote today at auroraflags.com.
From your home to the ice rink, ATCO Energy is there. As the official energy provider of Rogers Place, we're also proud partners of the Edmonton Oilers. ATCO Energy, powering your place. Customers are free to purchase natural gas services or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822.
Experience the exciting casino action at 3 Century Casino locations. Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile. Dine at one of their amazing restaurants featuring daily specials. Take in the ultimate game day experience at Selly Sports Bar and Lounge. Check out the best in live entertainment at any amazing location. Plus, enjoy a great selection of casino gaming options and off-track betting. Feel the thrill of live horse racing at Century Mile Racetrack. Don't miss a second of the action at Century Casino.
Looking for custom flags, banners, or canopy tents? Aurora Flags and Banners has a dedicated team to provide you with custom solutions and quality products. Aurora Flags has proudly serviced Canadian businesses and organizations for more than 30 years. Get a quote today at auroraflags.com.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Face off left side of Thatcher Demko. Wristed around by Leppinen. And Edmonton looking to keep the pressure on Vancouver. Canucks, in some respects, fortunate to be down just 2, but on the other hand, they've also hit a couple of goalposts. Braden Coots back to the point. One-timer, Pedersen a save. Skinner reaches out with a right pad. Canucks also had a goal called back when Derek Forbort was ruled to have pushed Skinner's pad over the line. Elias Pettersson under duress in the form of Ike Howard up the right-hand side. Howard, of course, the reigning Obie Baker Award winner out of Michigan State. Mangiapane shovels it inside the Vancouver blue line. Now Roenick winds one around the boards. Kasperi Kapanen could not dig it out of the corner. Roenick mishandled the puck initially, did well to hold the zone against Lazar. Back behind the net, Stuart Skinner 14 saves to complement McDavid and Frederick's first period goals. Kapanen with a steal and a play ahead. Taking it hard to the net, Curtis Lazar. Been in the league for a decade. Stepping up and a hard hit delivered by Emberson as Vancouver sends the puck back inside the Oiler blue line. Cam Dineen leaves it for Kapanen. On to Phil. Back to Dineen, and from center ice, he'll wrist it down deep. Demko will let it go through to Ratu. 4 1/4 to go in the second period. No goals here in the second. Edmonton with 2 in the first. Emberson jumped up at the line. Heedle had a chance to create a 2-on-1 and did not connect on the pass. Noah Philp shovels it back in. Edmonton dodged a bit of a bullet there. Demko on to Lekkerimäki. Back to Philip Roenick. He'll reverse up. Forbort off the left-hand side. From center ice, Lekkerimäki. Ekholm. Lekkerimäki. Here's a wrist shot. That was blistered wide. Came off the end boards. Shoveled down low. Kudryavtsev. Heedle. Joseph a shot. That was tipped up on the plexi. Oilers running around in their own zone a bit. Szymanski pursuing. Can't get there. Joseph a shot. And that missed glove side. Time and time again, Bob. Vancouver getting third and fourth chances here. Linus Karlsson trying to break through against Edmonton and Stuart Skinner. Tied up on the half wall. Joseph there with support. Karlsson outside the left circle. One-timer ripped wide by Heedle. And Szymanski on the rebound. That looked like a trip and will be called as such on Kudryavtsev with 3:06 to play in the second period. And the Oilers still holding a 2-0 lead. A dominant shift negated by a needless trip on Kudryavtsev.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky for Vancouver. They haven't maybe potted one here, but you could make the same argument that the Oilers could maybe have a couple more as well. One of the reasons Chris Knobloch went with this lineup tonight is he wanted to see his first unit power play together. They've had all of 8 seconds to work with in this game. It's their first real power play. Of course, no Zach Hyman. And David Tomashek is on this first unit power play with McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and Evan Bouchard.
And I'm guessing you're pointing that out as something significant. Perhaps a note to be taken if you're Chris Knobloch to see how this works out. McDavid wins the draw from Sherwood. One-timer ripped. Score. Leon Draisaitl put it underneath the bar and over the right shoulder of Thatcher Demko. He's got a goal and 2 assists tonight, and it's 3-0 Edmonton.
Well, that was an absolute bomb from Draisaitl. It was from a little bit higher in the slot than his normal kill zone, but McDavid a clear face-off win, and they slid it across, and just a rocket from Leon.
Yeah, I mean, Draisaitl was above the right circle by about a half stride. Nugent Hopkins and Bouchard will draw the assists, but as Bob indicated, it starts because of such a clean face-off win for McDavid. Because McDavid won the draw so convincingly, Bob, Nugent Hopkins was able to get it off his stick. Yeah. And just like that, Vancouver never got the focus shifted to the right side where it needed to be, because that's where Draisaitl was. And Draisaitl makes a play off the half wall. McDavid and Frederick to the net. McDavid shot denied by Demko. The rebound picked up by Frederick. Draisaitl back-to-back terrific plays. Obviously the one-timer for the goal, and then off the half wall, creating a scoring rush chance the other way. McDavid corrals a loose puck at his own blue line. Working his way through the neutral zone. Dished off, and that's going to be picked off by Baines, who lofts it inside the Oiler blue line with 2.25 to play in the first period. And the Oilers have tacked on a third goal, this one coming on the power play to make it 3-0. Nugent Hopkins just drew an assist on the power play goal. Now battling on the right half boards with Howard. A shot by Lepidin does not make its way through. Taken instead by Marcus Pettersson. And the Vancouver defenseman works it off the boards and out. Regula, right side for Howard. Turned over at the Vancouver blue line. Lead pass, off target, intended for Sherwood. Sasson couldn't hit him in stride, and as a result, with 1:41 to go in the second, it's icing against Vancouver. Canucks 38-30-14. Bob, how realistic is it for Vancouver to bounce back and get right back to the postseason after finishing 6 points out?
I think that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I look at what that team finished with 2 years ago in the playoffs compared to now, and they're nowhere near as deep and as good a team as they were. That was a good team that Edmonton beat a couple of years ago.
Asbury Kapanen left circle. Hands off, a shot by Lepidin. It was also a bit of a banged-up team by the time Edmonton finished off Vancouver.
Obviously, the injury to Demko and then Brock Besser for Game 7, but the Oilers separated by a wide amount for Game 6 and Game 7, Jack.
Well, they did, I thought, Bob, was play arguably the two best defensive games in the history of the franchise. Because at that particular point in time, Stuart Skinner was struggling mightily. And Edmonton insulated him magnificently, I thought, in Game 6 and 7 of that series. And I know that sounds, when you're talking about a team that won 5 Stanley Cups, a little ridiculous to say. But I'm telling you, in the history of the franchise, I'm not sure the Oilers as a team played two better defensive games than Game 6 and 7 of that series.
Game 7 was a clinic in Vancouver.
Well, I'm not sure what did they give up? 33 shots in the last 2 games of that series?
The shots were 24-7 to start the third period of that game for Edmonton.
Ratu in across the line.
And that's where Ryan McLeod, who finished with a great final 5 games against Florida in the Stanley Cup final, but he had a tough turnover and got Vancouver kind of some momentum because they had nothing going at 3-0 down, remember?
Philip Roenick down low. A wrist shot stopped by Skinner, protecting the far post, and that actually hopped out of play with a half minute to go in the second period. What's interesting about that series is, remember, Vancouver had home ice advantage. Vancouver beat Edmonton 4 straight times in the regular season.
And 3 of the games weren't close.
And including a game in this building that the Oilers had to have in order to potentially win the division. Now, they didn't play McDavid, and they got beat rather easily, but the point is, they didn't lead at any point in the regular season and didn't in the postseason either, because Vancouver won games 1, 3, and 5.
Yeah.
So the 3-0 lead you're talking about in Game 7 was the first time all year that Edmonton found itself ahead of Vancouver. Draw to the right side of Stuart Skinner.
And it did get nasty in that series. Not with the players, but with the fans.
Bouchard, lead pass a bit too far. Kudryavtsev up the left-hand side. That puck stayed in for a moment, and then Joseph cleared. 3 seconds to go. Little spin move. Hedl dropped it off one-timer at the horn, and a save made by Stuart Skinner, his 16th of the night. Skinner, it must be noted, a pretty strong second period. Didn't see much work in the first. Forbort hit the goalpost, but in that second period, stared down a couple of chances, and of course had the 1 goal taken off the board when Forbort was ruled to have muscled his post across the line. And as a result, the Canucks have got nothing that counted across the line against Stuart Skinner through 2 periods. It's 3-0 for Edmonton. Draisaitl with a goal and 2 assists tonight. His goal, the only goal of the second period, and it came on the power play. Bob, as we move forward in this game, anything stick out in terms of, again, positions or players that are still very much in the mix to make the hockey club that fans might not be familiar with?
Well, I think it's clear that McDavid and Draisaitl are going to make the hockey club
Yes.
base fans tonight. I think that's a given. I like Regula on the back end. I think he's made
noticeable
a lot of really good plays. This is the quietest game that Phelps had. Okay.
Tomashik also it's a bit of a muted performance. He won a face-off late in the first that he's going to need to win.
Like the fact that he was on the power play. Like that they gave him that opportunity. That could be something that's interesting.
He was the only guy who didn't touch the puck. That puck was in the net pretty quick.
It was, but that's interesting that he might get an opportunity in that role.
Well, he's a shooter, right, Bob? I mean, that's the scouting report on this guy. And you and I, it's funny, you know, you think, you know, he's never met a shot he doesn't like. Well, in the NHL, that can be a good thing because too often,
especially with Canadian players.
Well, we talk about the superstars constantly passing off. I think, you know, if there was one criticism that could be leveled at McDavid's game the last couple of years.
And we expect him to shoot more this year.
You might say at times he's been almost too differential and that he doesn't give his shot maybe the credit that it deserves. But, you know, having a guy like Tomashik in the mix as a shooter, that's a rarity in the NHL to have a guy who has that shot first mentality.
Well, I also I like right shot centers that are bigger guys, and they got a couple of them here that I think are going to factor into some things. I mean, Phillips had a quiet game. Tomashik's had a quiet 5v5 game. They're both, frankly, likely to play with better players if they end up making the team and they're in the lineup. So. You could conceivably see Phil on a line with Henrique and Kapanen, and you could see, theoretically, put Colson and Savoy playing with Tomashik. If they keep Howard with Nugent Hopkins and Mangiapane, and they keep Frederick with McDavid and Draisaitl, there are scenarios where those could be the four lines to start the year. So,
do you put any weight on what we've seen out of Stuart Skinner in the first two periods? I mentioned that, and again, it's not necessarily his fault, but let's face it, what did he have? 3 goals against on 18 shots the other night?
He's had a real good start.
Yeah.
And, and I'll look up the expected goals for here, but I can tell you, like the other night with Calvin Pickard, and I joked with him during the intermission, I said, we picked the Stars with like 4 minutes left in the game. Yeah, you got the shutout, but the expected goals for from Winnipeg in that game was below 1.
It was a rocking chair shutout, as we like to call it.
He made one really good save in the first period. So it's been a little bit different game. There's been a higher caliber, some of it self-induced from, the Oilers have had some guys fight the puck a bit. They've had a pairing fight the puck, and it's not the pairing you would think. But Ekholm and Bouchard have had some tough puck touches in this game that have created some opportunities the other way. So Skinner's had a very good start today.
We are going to see Vancouver in Game 2 of the regular season.
Yes.
So I did want to get a quick thought from you on Adam Foote. What do you think he brings to the table, and how might just a different head coach change the dynamic of that locker room?
I think we all think Rick Tocchet's a decent to good coach. He's incredibly well compensated for a guy that's won 2 playoff series in 9 years as a head coach.
Right.
And part of that is just the dynamic.
He didn't have the horses in Arizona.
No, but the dynamic of his personality as well helped get him paid. We'll see how Foote does. I mean, he has some history with that, he knows the players. And let's see how he does there. I think that's going to be it all comes down to this, doesn't it? It all comes down to whether or not Quinn Hughes signs an extension in Vancouver. I mean, the Oilers still have Draisaitl and Evan Bouchard, right? Signed long-term here, and we all think Connor will at least do a 2 or 3 year deal. We don't know what's going to happen with Quinn Hughes. Now,
I don't think a deal is imminent there in terms of Vancouver.
Well, they did re-sign Besser, American player. They paid him. Okay, it's well known that he would have gone for less money on a shorter-term deal to better team. They paid Demko. Demko's in the 8s, coming off 2 injury-plagued seasons, and they paid Connor Garland. Those are all American players, so maybe that is the enticement for a guy like Quinn Hughes as well. Time will tell, but the fact that the president of the team brought up the Hughes family situation That's a pretty interesting dynamic to think about.
Insider tip, by the way, when Bob Stauffer talks about Adam Foote, he'll still tell you on his final shift in the National Hockey League, he should have been called for a holding penalty with the Oilers down a goal and in a 30 versus 29 matchup on a Sunday afternoon that truly didn't matter one iota.
He could have had 6 penalties, and there was no way they were going to call him on one. They were going to let him go out and stop.
I told you he remembered.
Timo Hartikainen remembers it as well.
3-0 Edmonton through 2 periods. Brendan and Rob are next. This is Four Dealers NHL Hockey. We're after 2 with the Oilers up 3-0. The Oilers Radio Network.
Looking for top-notch dry cleaning? Riverbend Cleaners in Edmonton have been family-owned for over 40 years. They're experts in tailoring, wedding gown cleaning, and leather and suede care. From coveralls to curtains to jeans and jerseys, they do it all. Enjoy the convenience of free pickup and delivery as well as corporate discounts. Trust Riverbend Cleaners for quality service that's been a local favorite for decades. Visit them at 560 Riverbend Square or call 780-988-6685. Riverbend Cleaners, where experience meets exceptional care.
It's our YEG with 880 Chad.
Explore a funny and heartfelt memoir of married life, grief, and the stuff we hold on to as the Citadel Theater brings Big Stuff to the stage October 18th through November 9th. Enter at 880ched.com for your chance to win. And we're not selling the drama. Live returns for their Like a Rollin' Thunder tour February 27th at Rogers Place with Big Wreck and Econoline Crush. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
For details on these and more events, visit 880ched.com. This is At the Intermission on the Oilers Radio Network.
David wins the draw from Sherwood. One-timer ripped. Score. Leon Draisaitl put it underneath the bar and over the right shoulder of Thatcher Demko. He's got a goal and 2 assists tonight, and it's 3-0 Edmonton.
That's our Highlight Zone, brought to you by Century Casinos. All in, all games, all season. Century Casinos with 3 great locations in Edmonton, St. Albert, and next to Edmonton International Airport. Welcome to the winner's zone. Rob Brown, a ferocious power play effort there. Took all of 3 seconds for it to capitalize on the second period opportunity. Looked pretty good.
It did, and you asked me about it before the game, and I said the one thing I have no worry about with the Edmonton Oilers will be their power play. They will find new wrinkles. They will find new ways to create scoring chances. And on that one, it was simple. Win a face-off and get the puck into a one-timing position to one of the top 2. He and Ovechkin, the 2 best one-timers in the league. And Leon made no mistake. That was an absolute bomb. I mean, Demko had no chance, but it shows you how dangerous this power play can be when that took 3 seconds. And in that 3 seconds, 4 Oilers touched the puck. And it was in the back of the net, and all of a sudden the Edmonton Oilers have a 3-0 lead in a game that they are the better of the 2 teams.
Yeah, 3-0. 2 first-period goals coming from that top line, and then it was the power play unit, as we just alluded to make it 3-0. One other play, just while we have time to discuss. Big hits, again, thrown, and the response was kind of lacking, I thought, when Atro Lepinen got filled in along the wall on that, in the second period there, Rob. Do you expect more of a response in a game like this, or perhaps not, given the environment?
I mean, not if it's clean. I haven't seen there. I mean, there has been a physicality with the Canucks, but it's all been clean. They've all been. You can't go out and jump someone or fight someone because they throw a clean body check. So the Canucks have a group that is. I think they have maybe 1 top 9 forward in the lineup. And they've actually a couple of guys that played junior last year. So this is a meat and potato team. This is not a skilled team that they have going. So there's going to be physicality. They're going to be trying to be noticed because of that. The Oilers are going to beat them with skill. So to me, no. If something silly happened out on the ice, yes, I would expect there to be a response. Mm-hmm. But there's been some clean body checks thrown by the Canucks. But this has been a non-violent game, as there's no hatred out there. Most of the players on the Vancouver Canucks, the Edmonton Oilers players, wouldn't even know who they are.
Yeah, that's fair to say. That's about as succinctly as we can put it here at the second intermission, which is where we find ourselves, a 3-0 Oilers lead. That's our Inside the Game analyst, Rob Brown. He's back after the game. We'll connect during Oilers overtime. Right now, you're tuned into At the Intermission. This is Edmonton Oilers hockey on 880 Chet.
Athletes know that to advance your career, you've got to be part of a winning team. So, what about you? Are you working for a winning team? Well, here's your chance to do just that. Brandt is a strong and stable industry leader with career opportunities across Canada. We have hundreds of positions available right now, from parts, sales, positioning technology, heavy-duty mechanics, and more. Be a part of a winning team. Earn your stripes by joining Brandt today. Find out more at BrandtJobs.com.
Chemco is more than just a trusted local name. Chemco has been building industry across Canada for more than 60 years. From engineering through to commissioning, construction, maintenance, and beyond, Chemco's multidiscipline approach stands firmly on the belief that Chemco cares. It's not just what they do, it's how they do it. Visit Chemco.com and discover how they can support your project today. Chemco, proud fans of the Edmonton Oilers, serving and supporting communities across Canada for over 60 years. Do your tires feel like hockey pucks on the road? Perhaps it's time for a new set of Atturo tires. No matter what you drive, Atturo has the right fit for you, including the all-new Trail Blade HT and AZ810, premium all-weather tires for your pickup, car, SUV, or crossover. You can rest assured that Atturo tires will get you through all 4 seasons. Available at Action Car and Truck, Point S, and tire shops everywhere. Find a dealer near you at atturo.com.
Now this update from the Canadian Press. Prime Minister Mark Carney is back in Ottawa following his meetings with 4 prime ministers in London on Friday. The trip did not see any new trade deals or formal announcements. And for the first time in 10 years, the Toronto Blue Jays have won the American League East Division. Toronto's 13-4 win over the Tampa Bay Rays locked up the top seed in the league for the first time since 2015. Here's Blue Jays designated hitter George Springer.
Just an incredible moment, and I'm so happy for the city, the fans, the country, man. This is awesome.
In Alberta now, over the weekend, U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra toured the Alberta oil sands, saying that seeing the operations up close reinforces why North American energy security matters. He wrote on social media that Canadian companies can benefit from a booming business environment in the United States through Donald Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill. From the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed.
As the official medical imaging provider to the Edmonton Oilers, MIC ensures precision in every shot. And if you need medical imaging attention, you can count on MIC to get you back in the game. Whether it's a classic wrist shot, that is, X-ray, soft tissue scan, or advanced imaging, MIC provides timely and expert diagnosis. So go where the pros go and book an appointment at any of their 15 convenient Edmonton and area locations. Learn more at mic.ca.
Do you have tickets to an upcoming event at Rogers Place that you can't attend? Donate your tickets to the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation Seats for Kids program, presented by Eagle Builders. Seats for Kids provides unused game tickets for charities, allowing children and families to enjoy hockey at Rogers Place. And for many, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. To be a part of the Seats for Kids program presented by Eagle Builders, please email edmonton@kidsupfront.com. That's edmonton@kidsupfront.com.
Pizza 73, the official pizza of your Edmonton Oilers. Loyal to the oil, in Edmonton we trust. Rising to the top like a pizza crust. Got the flavors to play, yeah. Cooking on ice. Hunger happens, gotta score a slice. Let's go Oilers, E-Town unite. Ice District to Jasper, downtown to White. Wearing orange and blue, game on the street. Make the right call, Pizza 73. Let's go Oilers. 73, Pizza 73.
This is At the Intermission on the Oilers Radio Network.
Time now for the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. 3-0 the score here in Edmonton. That's in town. Out-of-town split squad action for the New Jersey Devils. 2-0 loss in Ottawa. Back in New Jersey, a 3-2 loss, shootout style, to the Capitals. The Blackhawks 4-1 over the Minnesota Wild, and the Hurricanes doubling up the Nashville Predators 4-2 the final there. Up here in Canada, we got our eyes affixed to the Blue Jays, don't we? A big 13-4 win over the Tampa Bay Rays. They clinched the AL East for the first time in a decade. tied with the Yankees. The Yankees won 2, but now the Yankees have to play the Bo Sox in a series that I will definitely be keeping an eye on as we wait and see who the Jays play in the wild cards or the divisional series when that comes up. That is the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. 3-0 the score, 18-18 the shots. Big second period from Vancouver there, though there was nothing that actually ended up counting. They thought they had one. It was called back, but we'll see how this all plays out in the final 20 minutes of action tonight, and then you can hear it all broken down on Oilers Overtime a little bit later on when Rob Brown returns to the broadcast, myself, live from Studio 99. So check that out after this here conclusion. In the meantime, we've still got 20 minutes of play-by-play action. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer coming up next. This is At the Intermission. Your Ford dealers NHL hockey is on the Oilers radio network.
You've been listening to At the Intermission on the Oilers radio network.
Did you know that there are 9 Napa Auto Parts stores serving the greater Edmonton area and have been doing so for more than 50 years? Since Napa first opened in Edmonton, the community has grown and vehicles have changed, but you can always trust Napa Auto Parts to provide you with the expert know-how and the best vehicle parts. And if that isn't enough, every time you visit a Napa Auto Parts store when you present your AMA card, you receive an additional 10% discount on all retail parts and accessories. Visit your local Napa Auto Parts store for more offers and expert know-how. Napa Auto Parts is a proud fan of the Edmonton Oilers.
Are insects invading your home? I'm Tyler, a trained expert with Able Pest Control. In your home or business, insects can be a big concern. Just ask Emma.
I had ants and spiders in my kitchen and basement, and I was worried they would infest other areas of my home. I picked up the phone and called Able.
Good call, Emma. I was glad I could help. At Able, we love what we do, and we know how to keep your property and family protected.
Able, we're on it.
My name is Tyler with Able Pest Control, and I'm on it.
Steel Haas Triton, 2 legendary oilfield services brands, 1 powerful partnership. Rooted in innovation, reliability, and a steadfast commitment to excellence, Steel Haas is proudly 100% Canadian-owned and locally manufactured. With over 15 field service locations across the prairies and up to the Rockies, they deliver world-class energy solutions with unmatched responsiveness, helping their customers thrive in the most demanding environments. Steel Haas Triton, engineered for performance, built in Canada. Visit steelhaasinc.com for more information.
All games, all season. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Thatcher Demko and Stuart Skinner going the distance tonight for Vancouver and Edmonton, respectively, in net. Demko touched for 3 goals on 18 shots. A power play rip job by Draisaitl. The only goal in the second period. Draisaitl with a goal and 2 assists tonight, and he'll start the third period with McDavid and Frederick on his wings, each of whom has a goal and an assist tonight. Bouchard and Ekholm defensively. Skinner, by the way, backed up by Matt Tompkins, Ohio State product, who's been with the Tampa organization the last couple of years, originally drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks.
On a 2-year deal, by the way, Jock.
Draisaitl and McDavid trade the puck through the neutral zone. Oilers, as we talked about, kind of a new-look coaching staff in their own right with Paul McFarland working the power play this year. Here's a centering pass to Draisaitl right circle. And Edmonton looks to go to work 5-on-5. McDavid to Bouchard. Left circle Ekholm, and his pass bounced off a skate and back through center. Peter Aubrey has taken over as goaltending coach for the Oilers. Played his college hockey in Mercyhurst, up in my neck of the woods, Bob. Mercyhurst located in Erie, Pennsylvania, where, of course, McDavid played his junior hockey.
Coached by Chris Knobloch.
Chipped up, left-hand side, Ike Howard. Centering pass, stick lifted. Stepping up, forced wide by Ty Emerson and shoveled up the right-hand side and out by Forbert. Funneled down low. Aubrey with the Blackhawks organization for a number of years before taking over at Nebraska Omaha at the NCAA Division I level.
Working with Mike Gabinet, who is from Edmonton. He's Claire Drake's grandson, and he stole 4 of the Golden Bears players away this year.
Mike Gabinet himself played minor pro hockey in Boise, Idaho. Played for, at that time, Steelheads head coach Derek Laxdal, who went on to coach the Edmonton Oil Kings, and Curtis Lazar.
Jack, Mike Gabinet's father is Ron Gabinet. He was the GM of the Edmonton Wildcats football team, and for a year was the GM of the U of A. And in 2000, when Mike was playing at Nebraska-Omaha, we're driving through Lloyd. He's like, I'm telling you, we can get the Nebraska-Omaha games on radio. I'm like, not a chance. And we hit Lloydminster, and literally on the dial at whatever it was, 14-something. Here's Gabinet back for the puck. And I could not believe it. I was in total shock when I had that game. Thought it was a tale of
Regula to Szymanski, a wrist shot off the rush, and a save made by Thatcher Demko. Now, you're going to have to educate me a little bit here. You said Edmonton Wildcats.
That's junior football.
Okay.
Junior football.
All
so
right.
there's two junior teams, the Wildcats and the Huskies. They play in the Prairie Football Conference. And Edmonton's the only city in the West that's got two different teams.
Okay. I obviously am well familiar with the Elks and the Golden Bears, but I did not know about the Edmonton Wildcats. So thank you.
In fact, they had won when Gabinet was there. The Little Grey Cup, they used to call it.
Wrist shot from distance off the draw taken by Lepidin, and that was handled flawlessly by Thatcher Demko. 3-0 Edmonton, 2 minutes gone by, third period.
In the 90s, the Regina Rams won 3 titles in a row. Quarterback Daryl Leeson, his son Brett, was with Anaheim the last couple of years.
Also, at one time, was he a Hurricane, Brett Leeson? Or is that incorrect?
Washington Capital.
Washington Capital, thank you.
Second round pick of the Caps. Late bloomer. Drafted as a 19-year-old.
Worked around the boards. Joseph behind the net. Baines up top. Biding his time. Joseph chipped a puck that was booted to the half wall by Lepidin, but the Oilers don't get it out. Regula couldn't move it either. Baines up top. Wrist shot blocked. Rebound and a save made by Skinner on Max Sasson, and that was a good chance from the slot. And Skinner did not issue a rebound. He has 19 saves and a 3-0 lead with 17:25 to play in the third.
So they have 6 guys that were part of the Abbotsford team that won the Calder Cup last year. That after 2 years in a row, Todd Nelson led Washington's farm team, Hershey, to victories over Coachella Valley, which, as you know, is Seattle's farm team.
And Dan Bilesmo was, at that time, the head coach of the Firebirds. And he then moved up to the Kraken, but lasted just 1 year. Seattle now coached by Lane Lambert. So a couple of Pacific Division coaching moves afoot. And again, even though Chris Knobloch's back, the Oilers have shuffled the deck on the coaching staff. Paul Coffey not returning behind the bench, remaining in an advisory capacity with the Oilers. Up the right-hand side, trying to jam it out. And Dustin Schwartz, who was with the organization for a decade and a former University of Alberta goaltender in his own right, replaced by the aforementioned Pete Aubry. Up the left-hand side and out by McEachran. Funneled back in by Ekholm and retrieved by Elias Pettersson. 3.5 minutes gone by, third period. Edmonton in command at 3-0. Hedl looked for the give and go, but the return pass well off the mark. Taken off the end boards by Draisaitl. Gave it away. Lekramaki. Down low to Hedl. Triple teamed, and Bouchard able to relieve him of the puck. Frederick did not get it out from Ekholm, and then a wrist shot up top, score. And it's Ratu who put it upstairs and finally breaks up Stuart Skinner's bid for a shutout. Picked up a loose puck at the right face-off dot and put it underneath the bar. It's 3-1. Edmonton with 4 minutes gone in the third.
Well, unfortunately, Frederick kind of lost possession of the puck and a quick pass up the wall
from Ekholm.
And then a rip job, high glove side. Hedl was the net front on the play. Skinner, I don't even think he saw that one cleanly right from the get-go. It was a good shot. But Bouchard and Ekholm have had some good moments, but they've also had a lot of turnovers in their own zone, which is abnormal for that pairing.
Shot from distance taken by Sherwood off the draw. Easy save made by Skinner, but the Canucks now ramping it up a little bit here at the outset of the third period. They've finally broken through for their first goal. Now Forbert has it in deep. Chipped in front for Sherwood, top of the left circle. He'll shovel it back down low. Bouchard and Ekholm, again, crowded in their own end, and again, failed to get it out. Ike Howard turned it over. And now O'Connor to the net, and he slid it just wide. He actually had Skinner deked. Couldn't finish the play. Roenick with a good look. Coots redirected home, and Braden Coots in his hometown, I believe, will get credit for that goal, and the Canucks have trimmed it to 3-2. Braden Coots from Sherwood Park has banked one in, and the Canucks have 2 goals inside of a minute to cut it to 3-2, and you can feel that coming.
Well, Jack, in both situations, Ekholm had the puck in the left corner, tried to play it up the left boards. I believe did it get a piece of O'Connor in front of the net here?
I thought it was friendly fire. I thought it went off a skate belonging to Ekholm.
Oh, we'll see. But Ekholm had a chance. Both sequences up the left wall. The first goal against Frederick could get out. The second one was a hard play for Howard to negotiate contact with, and the Canucks have made it a 1-goal game.
O'Connor was standing right next to Ekholm. I thought at live speed it went off Ekholm's skate and the goal belonged to Coots. He was first in the handshake line, but as we saw with the first goal tonight, that's not necessarily a stone-cold mortal lock indicator. Let's see. We got a slow-mo replay here, and I think it went off Ekholm's right skate, Bob. I really do.
Yeah.
What do you have?
I'll defer to you.
I don't know. Boy, that is tight. There's 2 skates. Maybe it did go off O'Connor. That is really close. I've seen the replay like 3 times. I'm not sure we have a definitive look just yet. It's either Coots or O'Connor with a goal that draws Vancouver to within 3-2. Here's a chance by Kapanen off the rush, and the rebound banged off the outside of the goalpost. What a look. Kapanen's initial shot was stopped, and it was Josh Szymanski who banged it off the goalpost with a chance to put Edmonton back up by 2. 2 goals in 43 seconds. Right now they're calling it a goal for Coots, but the bottom line is it's 2 goals inside of a minute, and game on.
A little bit of a switch here.
Szymanski, wow, that was close.
Kapanen's been moved to the line with Szymanski and Tomashek.
That went, oh boy, that was actually Demko got the stick inside the goalpost to keep that out of the net. Off the draw, Ekholm had it stripped in the right circle. Szymanski got it inside the post, but Demko's stick was lodged the inside of the goalpost.
They're saying unassisted for Coots.
Yep, Braden Coots credited with a goal. Here's McDavid off the rush. A shot taken by Frederick, and that was guided off target by goaltender Thatcher Demko. Just made a terrific save to deny Szymanski. And now it's Sasson off to Forbert. His shot ripped into the weighted glove of Stuart Skinner with 6 minutes gone by in this third period. 3-2 Edmonton. You know, you're talking about Brett Leeson, and he was he not, and I know Draisaitl Morrissey didn't win it there, but was he not on a Prince Albert team that won something in the Western League?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. He was part of that later on group. That might have been
Draisaitl and
2015.
Morrissey won it in Kelowna.
In 15, yes.
Where they had been traded from Prince Albert, but I think Leeson won it in Prince Albert. And the only reason I mention that is you've told me, you know, it's tough to win in places like Prince Albert and Prince George.
And they've had some challenges since then. But that was the one year they had a really good record.
Banked off the boards.
The WHL has found it tough to win at the Memorial Cup level for over a decade.
Basically since the Oil Kings win in 2014.
They were the last, and they used to dominate that tournament.
Braden Coots at center. Did not get it in deep. Oilers will reset on the fly as Dineen and Emberson handle the puck inside their own blue line. Nearly 7 minutes having elapsed in this second period. The Canucks, who outshot the Oilers 12-6 in the second period, have scored twice on 4 shots to open the third. And they made it a hockey game again with a lineup that has far fewer NHL regulars expected than what Edmonton's dressed tonight. Here's Howard. Into the offensive zone. Mangiapane around the boards for Regula. Right corner, table setter Nugent Hopkins. Leppinen, wide open right circle. Passed off. Regula tried to center. That one off a skate. Back on the puck is Leppinen from Howard. From the left point, he'll just feather one down low. And that's going to be picked by Roenick, taken off the boards for Forbert. I thought with a lot of room there, Bob, Leppinen might have taken a step forward and released a shot there. Didn't happen. Regula, right point, whipped it across. Leppinen, checked by McEachran, who took it off his stick, and Mackenzie McEachran is able to one-hand it up to Oman, and from center ice, he'll pitchfork it inadvertently over the short glass and out of play with 12 minutes to go in the third period. The shots are dead even at 22 aside. Edmonton 3, Vancouver 2. We're coming right back to Rogers Place with more Four Dealers NHL hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Over the last decade, the world of work has changed dramatically. It's a change that can cause a disconnect between a company and its employees. But a partnership with Aon can help by making decisions that create a more flexible, engaged, and resilient workforce. Aon's experience and expertise, global understanding, and advanced analytics ensure that every client is better informed and better advised so that they can make better decisions. Whatever the next decade brings, Aon is in the business of better decisions.
It's game on at City Ford. Ford employee pricing is ending soon. You pay what City Ford employees pay on over 500 new and used vehicles. Save up to $20,000 with employee pricing discounts. Plus, take advantage of finance rates as low as 1.99%. Score employee pricing on your new or used Ford today and spin and win a TV, Costco card, iPad, even a trip to Vegas. Visit City Ford on the St. Albert Trail.
If you ever find yourself needing collision repair, CarStar is here to help make accidents unhappen. Any make, any model. That said, there are some accidents CarStar can't make unhappen, such as accidentally waking a hibernating bear, accidentally biting into a raw habanero pepper, accidentally throwing a frisbee at a beehive. CarStar, Canada's trusted collision repair expert, is here to make car accidents unhappen. For a location near you, visit carstar.ca.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
12 minutes to go, third period. Oilers 3-0 lead after 2 has been whittled down to 3-2. As the Canucks got goals 43 seconds apart from Ratu and Coots, their first-round pick. That's the second goal of the preseason, by the way. He also scored in the win over Seattle on Friday.
I haven't minded Tomashik tonight. I think he's been decent. And again, they moved Hudson off that line and put Kapanen out there, Tomashik.
Walking in with a shot is Lekramaki, and that was stuffed by Emberson. Vancouver back into the offensive zone where they've spent the bulk of this third period. Outlet to Kapanen. Smartly advances to center and then whistles it in deep. Szymanski and Tomashik go to work. Szymanski shrugs off a check from Pedersen. Played out to the point, but Dineen could not get a wrist shot through. Emberson takes the carom at center and fires it back in. Tomashik put it down low. Szymanski tried to free it up for Kapanen. Szymanski was denied what would have been a 4-2 goal at the time by Thatcher Demko, who made a flailing stick save. And that would have been Szymanski's second of the preseason as he scored in the 4-0 win over Seattle. Or excuse me, Winnipeg on Friday. This again, the home finale in the preseason for the Oilers. They'll be in Seattle Wednesday, at Vancouver on Friday. Dump in by the Canucks. Oilers don't get it out. Roenick, one-timer. Missing badly is Linus Karlsson on a wild one-time bid. Derek Forbort turned it over, and the Oilers break out. You've got Draisaitl, McDavid, 2-on-1. McDavid, right circle, centers. Draisaitl scores! players and fans on the one-timer at one end, and then everyone's nightmare develops at the other. A 2-on-1, and McDavid to Draisaitl, no mistake. Draisaitl's got a 4-point night, and the Oilers back in front by 2 goals.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, that's just the absolute worst-case scenario, and Roenick played that about as well as he could have. And Connor can make the play on his forehand or on his backhand, and he basically brought Roenick to his knees, slides it through the crease, easy tap in for Leon.
Draisaitl with 2 goals, 2 assists. McDavid with a goal and 2 assists, and the Oilers extend to a 4-2 lead with 10.5 to play. Roenick, a veteran defender, was back, but I don't care whether you're a veteran or whether you're playing your first NHL preseason game. You don't want to see 97 and 29 bearing down on you. Regula.
Imagine how Jack Eichel felt in overtime.
There's a quick shot by O'Connor. Bob, of course, alluding to Edmonton's win in Game 2 of an eventual 5-game series victory over Vegas, avenging a loss to the Golden Knights in the second round of the 2023 playoffs. Here's Curtis Lazar. Shot off the rush and a save made by goaltender Thatcher Demko.
Not sure Lazar realized he had a 3-on-2 there.
Here's Emberson. Oman just gave him the shot. Lazar took it, and it was a routine save for goaltender Thatcher Demko. Noah Philp on the puck in the high slot for Emberson. Just inside the blue line, he'll wind it around. Tracking and leaving for Draisaitl was Oman, and then it's played back through center for McEachran. He'll bump it back to Marcus Pettersson, send it across to Joseph, and now the Canucks will break out. McEachran on to LeBate. Wrist shot off the rush, fought off by Skinner. Puck available for a moment, and LeBate crowding Skinner bumped him, and the Oilers quickly wrestle LeBate out of there. Again,
he's a big man.
Joseph LeBate is a big guy, well-traveled, obviously kind of an American Hockey League lifer. The nice thing for LeBate is 8 years after he had played his last NHL games, he got 6 in with Columbus last season. 9:01 to play in the third. Stuart Skinner has 22 saves tonight, and Leon Draisaitl has factored in all 4 Edmonton goals. His second of the night has made it 4-2 with 9 to play at Rogers Place. Ford Dealers NHL Hockey continues in just a moment. The Oilers Radio Network.
Real Canadian Superstore has more ways to save than any other major grocer. Check out their weekly flyer for PC Optimum offers, deals on club size, no name, and always low-priced everyday items. Visit in-store to find everything from fashion and home decor to toys and electronics. And don't forget their new Fresh Promise on produce. If your produce isn't fresh, they'll replace it and refund it. There are so many ways to save at Real Canadian Superstore. See their flyer for details.
The Citadel Theater invites you to join them for the extraordinary journey of Pai Patel, a young boy shipwrecked and stranded on a lifeboat with only a Bengal tiger for company. Life of Pai at the Citadel Theater until October 5th. Immerse yourself in Yan Martel's harrowing tale as Pai struggles to survive, confronting the limits of his faith and his resilience. It's a visually stunning theatrical experience you do not want to miss. Get your tickets now for Life of Pai at the Citadel box office or at citadeltheater.com.
Did you know that there are 9 Napa Auto Parts stores serving the greater Edmonton area and have been doing so for more than 50 years? Since Napa first opened in Edmonton, the community has grown and vehicles have changed, but you can always trust Napa Auto Parts to provide you with the expert know-how and the best vehicle parts. And if that isn't enough, every time you visit a Napa Auto Parts store when you present your AMA card, you receive an additional 10% discount on all retail parts and accessories. Visit your local Napa Auto Parts store for more offers and expert know-how. Napa Auto Parts is a proud fan of the Edmonton Oilers.
All games, all seasons. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
4-2 Edmonton, 9 minutes to play, third period at Rogers Place. And a puck, one off the draw by Tomasek, ultimately golfed out. Tomasek out there right now with Leon Draisaitl and Trent Frederick. Oilers 5-on-5 with a 4-2 lead. Draisaitl, 2 goals, 2 assists. Szymanski thundering in. Finishes his check as the puck is chipped off the glass and out. So right now it's Draisaitl out with fellow German Szymanski. And Tomashek has once again traded places with Frederick as the Oilers kind of mixing and matching here. Dineen to Emberson. Draisaitl on. And then swept down low by Szymanski, who will now exit. Brought back the other way by Drew O'Connor. He turned it over. Evan Bouchard to Ike Howard. Gained the line. Tried to sift it across for Tomashek, and it's hacked out of there by Kiefer Sherwood with less than 8 minutes to go as Matthias Ekholm, another Oiler. We talked about McDavid and his contract situation. Ekholm's another guy that the Oilers will be looking to extend.
Yeah, they will be. It was interesting yesterday seeing Cam Fowler. He's 33. He got a 3-year extension from Doug Armstrong at 6.1. Ekholm is 35, turning 36 when his contract's out. A little bit different situation, but
are you saying there's some similarities there with the deals potentially?
I don't think the price point, just no disrespect, just because of the difference in age. But Fowler at one point I thought was going to get flipped last year by St. Louis after he came over from Anaheim.
He made a big difference on that Blues team. I think one of the reasons they got into the postseason.
That's completely fair. Pat Brisson did a good job getting him $6 million a year for a 33-year-old D-man.
Leppinen stripped. Forbert into the offensive zone. Canucks aren't done here. Less than 7 minutes to play. They played hard. Wrist shot sent wide by Linus Karlsson as he was set up by Pettersson, and now the puck bumped out of play into the Oiler bench with 6 3/4 minutes left.
I mean, the Oilers
regulation.
The Oilers have Jake Wallman, Matthias Ekholm, and Brett Kulak up. I mean, if you're Jerry Johansson represents Brett Kulak, you're sitting there looking at what Ken Holland gave Cody Ceci, and we all love Cody Ceci. $4.5 million. Brett Kulak played ahead of Cody Ceci in the Stanley Cup final 2 years ago. Jake Wallman, I mean, Jake's going to do, I mean, Stan Bowman traded for Jake Wallman. That's, you got a guy that believes in you, and Jake's bounced around a bit. There's a deal to be done there with Edmonton for sure. So, well, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Puck got on the edge on a clear from Kapanen and turns into an icing call with 6:38 remaining.
I wouldn't be surprised to see, in the case of Wallman, a 6 or 7 year extension. And you got to factor in the age, 29, right? Like Kulak's 32.
So the Oilers have seen him for a half season. You think the commitment will be that strong?
Yes. And the GM also traded for him and believes in him. And often that's the biggest thing.
Off the draw, Roenick tried to work his way down low.
I don't even think
Noah Philp might have been held as he exits the zone.
It's a non-call on a 2-goal lead game, Jack.
And with 6 minutes to go in a preseason game, no less.
Yeah.
Everyone has flights to catch. Philip Roenick up the right-hand side. Ratu at center ice. Oilers, by the way, not going on an extended preseason trip this year. Usually the Seattle-Vancouver preseason games on the road would be an avenue for a potential team builder, but the Oilers electing just go down and back as they did for many years prior to the last 4 or 5, where that seemed to be a regular deal through the Pacific Northwest. So when I say down and back, the Oilers, for instance, will leave Wednesday afternoon for Seattle and come back that same night immediately after the game, as opposed to staying for a day and a half and then playing the preseason finale Friday in Vancouver. Instead, both Wednesday and Friday will be leave in the mid-afternoon and come back after the game. Oman dumps it in. Bouchard to Ekholm, booted out to the slot by McDavid. A quick give and a save made by Skinner on McEachran. Oman set up McEachran after a McDavid turnover, and Skinner turned him aside. Stuart Skinner with 23 saves tonight. Look sharp. Here's Kiefer Sherwood on the puck, breaking through the Oiler defense. Hitting the line, trying to shrug off McDavid, trapped in the corner by Bouchard, and he was belted. Lost possession of the puck. Draisaitl Trapped by 2 Canucks, so Connor does well to hold the zone. Fished out by Bouchard against Sherwood, and now Draisaitl makes a smart play off the wall to get it to McDavid. On to Frederick and a soft chip behind the Vancouver defense.
Who do you like for stars tonight? Because we're picking them.
Well, it's hard to take away from Draisaitl's 2 goals and 2 assists.
And McDavid 1, 2, and 3.
And I'd probably, it's Frederick or Skinner as a bit of a toss-up there. Here's Drew O'Connor pulling his way down the right-hand side for the Canucks. Demko heading for the bench. Extra man on as Marcus Pettersson lets one fly that Skinner's able to control without a rebound with 4:12 remaining in this third period. 4-2 Edmonton. And we'll take one last break in regulation. We're live from Rogers Place with the home preseason finale. And the Oilers have led all the way. Edmonton 4, Vancouver 2. A little more than 4 minutes remaining. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Wherever Canadians raise a glass, you'll find Molson. There's a good reason for that. When you've been in Canada for over 230 years, you get around in the cups and fridges of Canadians, generation after generation. Molson has a beer for everyone this summer. So raise a glass or cup or whatever you pour your Molson in, because it doesn't matter what it's in. It matters where it's from. Canadian, export, ultra, excel, Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Drivers seeking power, performance, and unbeatable value don't need to look any further than Freedom Ford. From the legendary F-150 to the rugged Bronco, the versatile Bronco Sport, and full lineup of SUVs built for every adventure, there's a perfect ride for every driver and every lifestyle. With financing rates starting at just 0%, hitting the road has never been easier or more affordable. Visit Freedom Ford on 75th Street in Edmonton and experience the thrill of driving your dream vehicle today.
Whether you're building a home, a community, or championship team, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens one step, one shift, one brick at a time. Coventry Homes, never done building. The official builder of the Edmonton Oilers, proudly celebrating 50 years. Visit coventryhomes.ca.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
4-2 hockey game in favor of Edmonton. Canucks, since the first period, have actually outshot the Oilers by a count of 20-12. But Edmonton has kept Vancouver at bay for the most part, and it's now 4-2. Net empty, 6-on-5 for the Canucks, and a misfired pass back to the point has Roenick chasing it down before it enters the blue paint at the other end. Marcus Pettersson could not hold the zone. 6-on-5 for the Canucks, right to left. Spilled in deep by McEachran. Skinner bobbled the handle initially, and then it was slugged out by Lepid and did not get it out of the zone, however. Canucks able to keep it in. Sherwood. Lekermaki. Regula trying to bust up the cycle. Nugent-Hopkins, Howard, and Mangiapane the line out for Chris Knobloch. Lepinen pursuing against Philip Hedl, who's been dynamic for the Canucks at times tonight, but does not have anything to show for it on the score sheet. Dishes off. Marcus Pettersson shot. That was blocked. 3 minutes, 10 seconds to play. Roenick one touch over. Hedl, one-timer score, and the Canucks right back in this game as Lekermaki finishes it off. Jonathan Lekermaki, still a rookie, played just 24 games a year ago, and as Bob mentioned, won a Calder Cup, slams home a one-timer, and the lead is down to 4-3 with 3:08 to go.
Well, that will excite Canucks fans. I mean, that was an absolute rip job.
How about Hedl's look, though? I mean, that's fantastic.
Hedl's been terrific tonight.
He was due to get on the score sheet in one form or another. And he sets up Lekermaki. Who, despite the name, Bob, as you know, is a Swede. Played 3 times on the World Junior team. You hear a name like Lekermaki, you instantly think Finn, but Jonathan Lekkerimäki has made it a 4-3 game.
Must be like near that Swedish border part of Finland.
Here's a dish by Frederick, down low to McDavid. He'll handle beneath the Canucks goal line.
I almost think we should pick Chatrooms to start tonight, Jock. He's been good.
Bouchard at his own blue line. Well, Bob, you've got absolute power in the preseason, so you do as you see fit. Icing's going to be waved off. Oh, there was a dispute there. They waved it off, and then they thought about it. And they're going to bring this puck outside the Vancouver line with 2.5 to go in the third period. They're going to call it icing. Going to say it was released from beyond center, so a face-off back inside the Oiler blue line, and with it comes Thatcher Demko to the bench, back to 6-on-5. Yeah, they're going to say no puck touch there. And so it's an icing call against the Oilers. 6-on-5, net empty. Canucks just scored 6-on-5 moments ago. Off the face-off, McDavid unable to lift it out. Pedersen swept around the boards. That eluded Kiefer Sherwood. Now he's on top of the puck. Filip Chytil from the corner. Pedersen, one-timer, and Lekkerimäki looking for a goal from the same spot. That time, Skinner stopped him. Ekholm has the rebound. Look for the empty net. Batted down by Pedersen. Lekkerimäki. Pedersen gives it back to Lekkerimäki. He's crowded. The Oilers looking to force that puck outside the zone. Frederick did not get it out. Whistled down low. Chipped in front. Ekholm lunging. Makes a play back to center. Rolling puck grab. Draisaitl and Frederick want to change. Pedersen steps in left point for the Vancouver Canucks, looking for the equalizer. Roenick, hard cross-seamer to Filip Chytil. Inside to Oman. Ekholm has no stick. Canucks basically a 6-on-4.5 here. Roenick gets it back, a one-timer. No shot yet from Pedersen. Chytil looking for room. High slot, moves it. Roenick, Chytil. Looking for a seam. Lekkerimäki didn't have his stick down and was late to the puck. The Oilers bump it off the boards, but not out. Pedersen a shot. That sails wide for the left point. Chytil does well to knock it down, but McDavid's there to take it away. Trying to plow his way through three Canucks. Turned it over. Lekkerimäki. His shot tipped wide by McDavid, who atoned for that mistake. Got back in the shot lane and broke it up. Lazar forces Karlsson into a turnover. McDavid ahead to Kapanen. Net empty. He shoots and misses. Rebound comes off the end boards with a minute to go. And Bob, the Oilers have not been far from automatic with respect to empty nets. And Kapanen missed a sitter there. 45 seconds to go. 4-3 Edmonton in the preseason home finale. Roenick has nowhere to move it. He and Pedersen have been out there forever. Karlsson will drop it for Roenick, but still Vancouver pinned in its own zone. Karlsson finally gets to center, but was cut off by Nugent-Hopkins. The puck trickles free. Drew O'Connor from the red line finally gets it in deep. Skinner with 20 seconds. Edmonton able to get a clear. The Oilers force the Canucks to just release the puck after hemming them in for upwards of 40 seconds. Now the Canucks are running out of time. 10 seconds ago, turned over and fired wide from distance, but it won't matter as just 2 seconds remain when the Oilers are whistled for icing. Mangiapane figured why not with the clock running down, fired from the blue line, missed wide, but with 2 seconds to play, victory would seem secure. Canucks will get one more O-zone draw. 6-on-5 with officially 1.9 showing on the clock. Well, as usual with an empty net, Edmonton managed to make it interesting, but they're going to win.
Always.
Oilers will be 4-1-1 in the preseason with this victory, provided there's not some sort of Tyler Toffoli last-minute heroics.
They don't have Toffoli anymore.
And Adam Foote is going to practice this scenario and call a timeout just to make it interesting. Bob, I mean, you look at this game, and the Oilers are going to win it. At Seattle, I imagine, based on what we saw tonight, there's still 2 or 3 spots to be had.
I don't think we'll see McDavid or Draisaitl playing that game. Possibly.
That'll be the last real evaluation game,
My guess
suspect.
is McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, Ekholm, and Bouchard will not play that night.
Yeah, the full dress rehearsal, and in all likelihood, the opening night lineup provided, obviously, but Colson being an exception there. But the opening night lineup we'll basically see next Friday in Vancouver, I'd suspect. Unless Chris Knobloch still has a spot or two that he wants to see one last battle for. All right, Canucks will stack it here. Philip Hedl will take the face-off against Nugent Hopkins. You've got 7 players between the hash marks and 2 Canucks up top, including Lecker-Mackey. Nugent Hopkins won the draw to the corner, and a late centering pass goes off a stick. And indeed, Edmonton hangs on. A less than impressive finish as the Canucks got 3 in the third, but Draisaitl's second of the game turns out to be the game winner midway through the third period, and the Oilers hang on for a 4-3 victory. Stuart Skinner, 25 saves. Draisaitl, a 4-point night with 2 goals and 2 assists. McDavid, a goal and 2 helpers. Frederick, a goal and an assist. And Edmonton now 4-1-1 in the preseason. Vancouver, 2-2, with both teams seeing 2 more preseason games left on their slate.
A pretty sloppy hockey game, which you expect in the preseason. And, Jack, we should mention Vancouver only plays 6 this year. Teams are only going to play 4 next year.
84 regular season games.
It's going to be a different experience.
The division will be evened out. No more will we see 2 division teams only 3 times during the regular season. And as you know, Bob, what's irritated Oiler fans the last 2 of the last 3 years is they've gotten the Canucks and Flames only 3 times instead of 4. That will change next year.
Defied logic to me. It's completely defied logic.
And that happened to Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. That happened to the Rangers and the Islanders. A lot of rivalries went by the wayside as a result of that unbalanced schedule. Let's go down. Aiden Gannams with Ike Howard.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Ike, they didn't make it easy on you guys, but you find a way to come out with a win. Just how does that one feel, and how do you feel your group played?
Yeah, it was good. They had a little pushback there at the end, but we were able to get the job done, which is always good. And, I thought the group played well. Looked strong, looked fast out there, and created a lot.
You played on a line with Andrew Mangiapane and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 2 pretty seasoned NHLers through their careers. What was that like, and did they give you any pointers, any advice, stuff like that?
Yeah, it was good. Both great players. I thought, a couple plays were close on connecting. I thought we strong on pucks, fast, extended play in the ozone, stuff like that, so it was good.
Thanks a lot. Enjoy the win.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd agree with those sentiments, Bob. That line made a lot of noise in the first 30 minutes of tonight's game and just didn't get anything to go. Did anyone significantly help themselves tonight? You mentioned Alec Regula a number of times. I imagine he's at the top of your list in that regard.
Yeah, and I didn't mind Tomashik tonight. I thought Tomashik outplayed Noah Philp in sort of the battle of the 3rd/4th line right shot centers. Now, Philp was solid 2 ways again, but I thought that there was a little bit more offense. I didn't mind Howard's game. I thought that Howard was good. And, you take a look at it. So let's start on defense. Okay, Leppinen and Regula. Again, Leppinen does not have to clear waivers. Regula does.
And Lepinen's a left-handed shot. He's got 4 lefties in front of him.
And I think you would agree. Regula had some good moments in tonight's game. I mean, the pairing that had the most challenges was Bouchard and Ekholm. They turned a lot of pucks over in their own zone. To be honest with you, they were completely fine when Dineen was on the ice.
Cam Dineen, I thought, Bob,
he might be your organizational number 9 defenseman right now. Like if you're saying your 4 lefties in the organization are, for the sake of argument, Ekholm, Nurse, Wallman, and Kulak, even though we know those 4 will be in the top 6, and then your 4 right shots are Bouchard, Emberson, Stetcher, and now Regula. Cam Dineen's a pretty good organizational number 9 defenseman because he can move the puck. And Stan Bowman wants D that can move the puck and is not focused on size. He wants D that can get the puck up the ice, which
Dineen's also played 4 games for this team.
Yeah, and he's been in the organization, so I thought that pairing was probably the steadiest of the 3 pairings in the game tonight. I think Bouchard and Ekholm had the most. And part of it early was Bouchard, and as the game wore on, Ekholm kind of fought the puck a little bit too. 2 veterans, they'll round into form. The Lazar, Philp, Kapanen line had nothing going. And now Curtis Lazar is a right shot playing over on the left side, but he has played left wing before in his career. They were very quiet. I actually didn't mind Kapanen. I thought Kapanen had his feet moving, and they moved him up. I liked Tomashik. The second line was fine. They just didn't score. Howard, Nugent Hopkins, and Mangiapane, and then the top line's the top line. I
think Mangiapane's had a good preseason.
Yeah. Well, and, it's interesting. You talk to some guys down in Calgary, and they're like, well, no, Stoff, he wasn't the same guy. He's lost his quickness and his pace. I'm like, well, let's just see what happens here. like this.
Well, you have. I'll tell you what. If you've lost your quickness and pace, you cannot play with certain players that Mangiapane is expected to play with, and I think he's shown well in that regard. Because the one thing we've noticed over the years is if you lack a certain hockey sense and pace, you cannot play in the top 6 on this hockey club.
Jack, there's an old saying, right? What was Jimmy Johnson's line? You can't coach stupid. If you can think, a guy can work around other... That's why Derek Ryan could come in the NHL at 29 and play until he's 38, because he was never fast and he wasn't big, but he could think.
And that's why Corey Perry could play with Connor McDavid last year.
Until he was 40. And so in Mangiapane's case, I think Mangiapane has to score 15 to 20 goals this year. I like Savoy and I like Howard, and at some point they're going to get going and grooving offensively a bit.
Well, you need one of the two of them.
One of the two
to
of them.
have a 15-goal year, you'd think.
And saying that, there's nothing wrong if they're in middle 6 roles for the majority of the year. If they're in the second and third lines for the majority of the year.
But I think if they're going to be in the middle 6 role for the majority of the year, they better be at 15 goals, because they're not going to stay there if they're not.
The only thing I will say is Edmonton's now, we don't know if there's going to be a slight change to how the power play is deployed, but traditionally, and again, the power play dropped off last year, got a little bit predictable, and McDavid and Leon did not play in the final 14 games. Not once were both of them in the lineup. And
talked about the penalty kill structure. How do you expect the power play to change this year?
A
little more structure, a little less pond hockey?
I did have a chance to talk to a couple of guys that are going to be killing the penalties.
Yeah.
And they just said it's way easier in terms of reading, reacting, because you're not overloading to the one side and chasing pucks for the forwards. It's way easier for the defenseman. It's you don't beat yourself as much on the PK, so I just wanted to relay that. And then in terms of the power play, I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to have more than one zone entry. They've done the drop and delay to McDavid, and he's so good and he can get it so many times. I foresee a scenario where Edmonton one-ups pucks. I also see us, and by one-up pucks, I mean they get the puck up instead of popping it back to McDavid to gain the zone. They on those long stretch passes and then reversing it back. What I see is scenarios where they try to create some odd man breaks coming off of that, because teams will overplay McDavid. Remember the second goal that Nugent Hopkins scored against Dallas in Game 5 2 years ago, where they hit Draisaitl up the right side wall, and he didn't pop it back. Instead, it ended up being a 2-on-1. He got it to Nugent Hopkins, and Ryan went in and scored a second goal a game, and the Oilers ended up winning that game. I see more of that happening. And then we saw something tonight on their power play. They only had about 13 seconds of power play time in this game. 5 seconds on the second one.
But Draisaitl up a bit higher?
He shot it right away.
Right. Well,
they didn't shoot.
He also, that was a different position. We haven't seen him top of the right circle.
Shot right away.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Here we go. Edmonton 4, Vancouver 3. That's your home preseason schedule complete. The Oilers now 4-1-1 in the preseason. They'll finish up with a pair of 8 o'clock Mountain Time starts Wednesday and Friday in Seattle and Vancouver, respectively. Of course, we expect Vancouver to be about as close to a dress rehearsal for both teams as you can reasonably expect. Obviously, guys like Podkolzin and Wallman remain question marks as we move through the course of this week. We should have updates on both of those players and when they might be available for Edmonton. So keep it locked. Keep it tuned in, obviously, for Wednesday's matchup at Climate Pledge Arena in the Pacific Northwest. Cam and Bob will have that one for you again in 8 o'clock Mountain start. Tonight, Edmonton defeats Vancouver 4-3. Stuart Skinner finishes the night with 25 saves as the Oilers, despite being outshot 28-24, build a 3-0 lead and close it out. Draisaitl 2 goals, including the game winner and 2 assists. McDavid a goal and 2 helpers, and Trent Frederick with a goal and an assist. Once again, your final score, Edmonton 4, Vancouver 3. Skinner outduels Thatcher Dimko. That's going to do it from here. And again, Wednesday night is your next broadcast right here on the Oilers Radio Network. Until then, for Bob Stauffer, Brendan Escott, Rob Brown, this is Jack Michaels saying good night from Rogers Place. Once again, your final score in the home preseason finale. Edmonton 4, Vancouver 3. The Rogers postgame show starts right now.
Exclusive live interviews, expert analysis, and game highlights. This is the Rogers postgame show. Once again, here's Bob Stauffer on the Oilers Radio Network.
Derek Forbort turned it over, and the Oilers break out. You've got Draisaitl, McDavid, 2-on-1. McDavid, right circle, centers. Draisaitl scores. Carlson fans on the one-timer at one end, and then everyone's nightmare develops at the other. A 2-on-1, and McDavid to Draisaitl, no mistake. Draisaitl's got a 4-point night, and the Oilers back in front by 2 goals.
That's the Century Casino Highlight Zone, all in, all games, all season. Century Casino's 3 great locations. Edmonton, St. Albert, next to the Edmonton International Airport at Century Mile. Welcome to the Winter Zone. From the Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth, this is the Rogers postgame show, the Oilers Radio Network.
Looking for top-notch dry cleaning? Riverbend Cleaners in Edmonton have been family-owned for over 40 years. They're experts in tailoring, wedding gown cleaning, and leather and suede care. From coveralls to curtains to jeans and jerseys, they do it all. Enjoy the convenience of free pickup and delivery, as well as corporate discounts. Trust Riverbend Cleaners for quality service that's been a local favorite for decades. Visit them at 560 Riverbend Square or call 780-988-6685. Riverbend Cleaners, where experience meets exceptional care. At Northern Lakes College, students work, raise their family, and complete their certificate, diploma, or partnership degree. With NLC's supported distance learning model, you can do it all in a flexible online classroom. Explore a variety of programs from academic upgrading to university studies, including a wide range of programming available through continuing education. Skate into your new career in a learning environment that works for you. NorthernLakesCollege.ca. Learn where you live.
This is the Rogers postgame show on the Oilers Radio Network.
As hard as they couldn't get the Alberta Blue Cross Travel Insurance goal game. The Oilers missed a couple chances to score an empty netter. Health, dental, travel, we got the coverage you need. Visit ab.bluecross.ca. Bob Stauffer with your Rogers postgame show. Rogers, Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. And we're in the Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. Legacy Heating and Cooling, no payments and no interest for 1 year. Well, a night in which the Oilers' top line dominated the game against a team that probably had about 4 forwards that are going to be with their team to start the year. Let me ask you this. How challenging is it to assess the Oilers' performance on a night like this? And what about the Canucks management team evaluating their guys against an Oilers' top line that features arguably, well, I would say probably the 2 best players in the world.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're the 2 best players in the world. I would think that the Vancouver Canucks management would be happier with the way their team played than the Oilers management would. I think that it was an undermanned Vancouver Canuck team. They were missing all their best players. No Hughes, no Pettersson, no DeBrusk, no Besser. Yet their work ethic was fantastic. They were physical, and they lost to Connor and Leon is what they lost to. The rest of the time, when Connor and Leon weren't out there, the Vancouver Canucks played well. They just had no answer to Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid. I thought that as the game went on, the Vancouver Canucks started to take over the game when Connor and Leon weren't out there. I listened to you and Jack talking. I agree that I thought Bush and Ekholm had a tough night tonight on the back end. I found some things a little... I thought up front... I didn't notice Tomashik as much tonight, and partly is the line he played with. Noah Philp didn't notice him much. I don't think his line had as strong a night as they've had as of in the last few games. And another thing that I found weird in this game, and I don't know what your take is on it, but the Oilers got a too many men on the ice penalty. they had Noah Phillip sit in the penalty box.
I was surprised by
if
that.
Noah Phillip is going to make this team, it's going to be as a fourth line guy, the penalty kills. So I'm looking down there, I'm like, to me, that made no sense at all. So I don't know what to read into that, but I found that awfully strange. The one question I got asked twice before the game was what I thought about the Oilers' power play, and I thought, well, I've got no worries about it. Well, it took them all of 3 seconds on their one power play, and just with a little tweak. You know what? They were aggressive off the faceoff. That was a set play. No team in the National Hockey League has more set plays off faceoffs than the Oilers, and it's all on the back of Connor and Leon. That was a set play. 4 players touched the puck in 3 seconds, and it's in the back of the net. So I hope, and the Oilers desperately need, the Oilers' power play to be back to where it was 2 years ago.
What did you think of Stuart Skinner tonight?
Well, here's the tough thing about Skinner, and this is why we'll get calls again. Back-to-back game. What do you have? Was it 3 against last game? 3 against tonight? I don't know. One went off I don't know if it was his own player's skate, if it was Ekholm's skate or the forward in front went off a skate. The other one, that young, I'm guessing he's a Finn that scored the third goal, was a junior player last year.
He's a Swede.
A Swede, so I apologize for that. But
with a Finnish last name.
Okay, but what a shot that was. That's a great one.
With elite level finish.
Was that ever nice?
By the way, Heedle was terrific for them.
He was excellent.
He might have been the best player on the ice tonight. He had, he single-handedly had created 4 odd-man breaks in tonight's game.
He was sensational, and they're going to need him to be in Vancouver this year. So the one goal that, the first goal, was it a great shot? Yeah. Is that one that you hope that can be saved?
Well,
yeah. So.
Again, it was funny. Bouchard really struggled early, and then Ekholm struggled in the third. And that's a little bit concerning to me, because now you're going to need Nurse. We're not sure when. We're told Wallman's going to be okay for when it matters, but he's out right now. Again, the Oilers on paper with what the Athletic refers to as the best defense in the league, but you've got a scenario where Ekholm is coming off a significant injury.
They need Ekholm to be the Ekholm that we think. And the other thing, too, in this game, and I know the first line they had Frederick playing with Connor and Leon, and he was much better. But the one thing, if you're playing with Connor and Leon, you've got to control the puck. The goal that we just talked about that was turned over by Frederick in his own zone. And he's got to make that play. And there's another one where Leon threw about 100-foot pass up to Frederick on the far blue line, and it exploded on his stick. Those are the things.
You got to make those plays.
You got to. And there's another. The third one was late in the game where Connor was flying up. Puck came over to Frederick, and Connor wanted that puck. He wanted that puck, and Frederick just dumped it in. Again, these are things he's going to have to learn. That's probably one of the reasons they're playing multiple games in the preseason, so you can get a little bit of chemistry. But you've got to make the plays. You can't let the puck die on your stick when you're playing with Connor and Leon.
Awesome stuff, Rob.
Sounds good, Bob.
The Smart Play of the Game is brought to you by Kitali Smart Pasta with all natural ingredients. It's a smart move for your next meal. Look for the box and the all natural ingredients. The all natural ingredients flag on the box the next time you shop, and it's simple, man. It's McDavid and Draisaitl all night. They were good. They set up the game winner, and away you go. This is the Rogers Postgame Show on the Oilers Radio Network.
Drivers seeking power, performance, and unbeatable value don't need to look any further than Freedom Ford. From the legendary F-150 to the rugged Bronco, the versatile Bronco Sport, and full lineup of SUVs built for every adventure, there's a perfect ride for every driver and every lifestyle. With financing rates starting at just 0%, hitting the road has never been easier or more affordable. Visit Freedom Ford on 75th Street in Edmonton and experience the thrill of driving your dream vehicle today.
Real Canadian Superstore has more ways to save than any other major grocer. Check out their weekly flyer for PC Optimum offers, deals on club size, no name, and always low-priced everyday items. Visit in-store to find everything from fashion and home decor to toys and electronics. And don't forget their new Fresh Promise on produce. If your produce isn't fresh, they'll replace it and refund it. There are so many ways to save at Real Canadian Superstore. See their flyer for details.
Do you have tickets to an upcoming event at Rogers Place that you can't attend? Donate your tickets to the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation Seats for Kids program, presented by Eagle Builders. Seats for Kids provides unused game tickets for charities, allowing children and families to enjoy hockey at Rogers Place. And for many, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. To be a part of the Seats for Kids program presented by Eagle Builders, please email edmonton@kidsupfront.com. That's edmonton@kidsupfront.com.
You're tuned in to the Rogers Postgame Show on the official voice of the Edmonton Oilers, 880 CHAD, and on the Oilers Radio Network.
Let's go to the Pizza 73 out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of your Edmonton Oilers. Elsewhere in the NHL tonight, Frank Nazar with a hat-trick. Chicago beats the Minnesota Wild by a score of 4-1. Capitals win 3-2 in a shootout over the New Jersey Devils. The Devils played 2 games today. They also lost 2-0 to the Ottawa Senators, and the Hurricanes doubled up the Predators 4-2. The Edmonton Oil Kings went in ranked number 3 last night in CHL hockey across the country. They lost 6-3 in Calgary. They have a big Eastern Conference road trip that starts this week. Here at Rogers Place, Leon Draisaitl, 2 goals, 4 points. Connor McDavid, a goal and 2 assists. Trent Frederick, a goal and an assist. That line combines for a total of 9 points. And the Oilers beat the Vancouver Canucks 4-3 to improve to 4-1-1 in preseason. This is the Rogers Postgame Show on the Oilers Radio Network.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. You know, guys used to call me a plumber. And now they call you an HVAC technician. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to install furnaces. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Steelhaus Triton, 2 legendary oilfield services brands, 1 powerful partnership. Rooted in innovation, reliability, and a steadfast commitment to excellence, Steelhaus is proudly 100% Canadian-owned and locally manufactured. With over 15 field service locations across the prairies and up to the Rockies, they deliver world-class energy solutions with unmatched responsiveness, helping their customers thrive in the most demanding environments. Steelhaus Triton, engineered for performance, built in Canada. Visit steelhausinc.com for more information.
Let's go to the Molson Cup 3 Stars, presented by Molson, the official beer of your Edmonton Oilers. Whether it's Canadian Ultra Export or Excel, or a Molson with your name on it, it must be of legal drinking age. 3rd star night, he was excellent for the Canucks. Philip Keedle. Connor McDavid tonight's 2nd star. He had a goal and 2 assists. Leon Draisaitl had 2 goals and 4 points. He's tonight's 1st star. The Rogers postgame show was heard following each of our NHL broadcasts, and the Oilers return to action on Wednesday night. Cam Moon will have the call of that game. Jack Michaels had the call of tonight's game. On behalf of Cam, Jack, Rob Brown, Brendan Escott, Bob Stopper, thanking our producers this year, Eamon Hashem at the helm tonight, Kellen Kennedy, ace engineer Troy Bowler. Oilers are now 4-1-1 in preseason as they beat Vancouver 4-3. Up next, Seattle on Wednesday. So long, everybody, from the Oilers Radio Network.
Post-game show is heard following each of our NHL broadcasts. Portions of this exclusive broadcast